It's two races. It's two very much important races. The snow has stayed, and now it's a battleground once more. But with these races now on a Sunday, having an extra race on top of them, it now means there's a little bit of change in the air as everybody starts to get themselves into a position where they need to be ready, where they need to be scoring more points, being more alert, being more ready. This is going to be more endurance. The fact they have to race two races in one single night. Today, VWVRC, the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship, is going to be in full flow. My name's Jake Sparrow, got Solomon Paras alongside me, but Volkswagen Motorsports launched the Polo Cup in 2010, marking their entrance into Indian motorsport. The aim was to provide a platform for young drivers to begin professional racing and display their skills on a national level. And since then, they have produced many race drivers who have progressed to race internationally. Since its inception in 2010, Volkswagen Motorsport India's goal has been to develop motorsport in India, to find and groom India's next international racing star, and they demonstrate technologies like TSI and DSG via their motorsport platform. The brand boasts of successfully completing 10 seasons of one-make championships with different Volkswagen cars, winning the Indian Touring Car Championship in its debut season, along with wins in the Indian National Rally Championship. Now they have launched the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship, which is focused on bridging the gap between the virtual and real-world racing by giving a fully sponsored season to the winner of the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship. This goes in conjunction with the Driving Force, which is India's first docu-series based on motorsports in India and is produced by VWMI. It's a six-part series that takes audiences on a trip of a lifetime and brings out the forces that drive individuals to take up the unconventional sport. The show is streamed on some of India's largest OTT platforms, such as Disney+, Hotstar TV, Jaya TV, and many, many more. Of course, also sponsoring today's event is MRF, the high-grade quality tyre manufacturing company all around India and internationally as well. They have been with Volkswagen Motorsports India for 5 years, and they are a major supporter of motorsports in the country with their active contribution in the Indian National Racing Championship, as well as rally programs in India, along with the international level events such as the Formula 4000 Championship. Sponsoring this event also is Venky's. The Venky's Group is the largest fully integrated poultry group in Asia, and today they play proud parent to a number of reputed organisations under its wide umbrella and successfully caters to poultry and its allied sectors. That is alongside the NECC, the National Egg Coordination Committee, which are an association of poultry farmers in India with a membership of more than 25,000 farmers. In the past 2 decades, the NECC played a significant role for the betterment of the poultry industry in general, as well as the egg industry, with particulars in there. Together, Venky's and the NECC have been associated together for 2 years, and their active contribution in developing, supporting, and promoting sports in the country, as well as supporting athletes and the consumption of appropriate nutrition and protein through various initiatives, has been fantastic to see. But Solomon, we are in qualifying once again. No reverse here for race 2 of 3 that we'll be having here at Vallelunga. But what we will be having is another opportunity maybe for these drivers to work out 30 minutes to get more points on the board. There was nothing to lose last time out. Now they've had an extra day to figure out what they need.
Great to have your company, Jake, and it's going to be one of those places where we talk about two, not one, but a double biller, if you would like to talk about it. As we're looking on the grid at the moment, as we're looking very clear, specifically for the qualifying, I do believe when we discussed yesterday, we would see racers a little more smart, a little more cautious, and maybe able to get on to turn number 7 all the way up to turn number 11 and 12 without going away into the track limit, just like Neerav Jain just did.
Exactly, it's very difficult to piece together a lap around this place. This is a very, very tough battleground that you see around this circuit, so everyone needs to just think about how they get things going and how they build those laps together. Currently at the top of qualifying, it is the championship leader Amit Kuti who pulled his gap out to 20 points with his run here today, with Smut second and Thadia in third position. Someone we haven't seen put a lap time in on the board is Arrow Ravindra, which is very interesting. Nowhere inside of the top 15. He's down in 19th position. His lap time not yet representative.
You're looking at the lap time from yesterday's qualifying to today's. We'd already seen some folks, two of them clocking 1 minute 38.7. Yesterday we had Steve Smart clocking 138.9. So you do believe that some of them actually picking up some crucial learnings from yesterday to bring it down today. So 138.7, the fastest lap time, Amit Kuti. Steve Smart 138.7, matching him lap to lap and corner to corner.
Every lap, every corner is vital here as we look at Abhimanyu Menon heading through the second sector of this circuit. This is turn 6, and now that leads to the Campagnano turn 7 out on track. There's lots of corners on this Vallelunga circuit which really do depend on how well you can travel in the middle sector as you go into a very tight, very twisty part of the circuit. And this is where you get that contrast, really, Solomon, in how your driving style works. If you're good in the first couple of sectors, you're going to be able to make overtakes, but in the tight and twisty things, this is where you really do bleed the most amount of time.
So when they get on to turn number 7 all the way up to turn number 12, we possibly calculated that folks would have lost about 6/10 or 7/10 of a second. That's the difference when you basically come down to turn number 12 to just onto the home straight. Now you're losing about close to a second, and that's a lot of time. And hence you did see a lot of bunching up together for the fight for the 13th up to the 18th position yesterday.
I'll tell you what's very interesting right now. It's the times in qualifying at this moment. So Suarez Shadav jumps up into 12th position. You've got 4th place all the way down to 11th, split by just about 0.2 of a second right now, which tells you all you need to know about how very, very aggressive this mid-pack's going to be.
Well, Swaraj Yadav, for a moment, had a little moment on the track there again. So his timing is 1:43. So when he clocked 1:40.8. So that's exactly what you were talking about, Jake. Handling those tight, twisty corners. You get that right. Definitely at least make at least 3 or 4/10, and that'll at least jump you up 4 places. And we've already seen Swaraj Yadav going up to position number 12. 139.9 for Raj Tula. 139.9. He was 140.1 a lap or two earlier. So we are seeing some changes on the lap times here for sure.
We are seeing drivers find improvements. That's Raghav Vidaraja up on screen for you. Currently in 10th position in this qualifying session, and hoping that there's going to be a little bit more time to find in the back pocket here. A couple of tenths would do wonders around this place as we catch an eye on Munjar Savla, just running that one a little bit wide going through turn number 8. Very easy to do. It's a tough braking zone there to get right, and sometimes you don't quite get exactly what's needed. But 3 minutes to go here in qualifying, which means that these are going to be some of the final runs that we'll be seeing from these drivers around this circuit just outside of Rome, Italy.
So Rishabh Banerjee on your screen at the moment. He was in the thick of things yesterday, and he would be hoping that the same sort of drama comes in today. So 138 Where does he come in? 139.428. He goes up to position number 4. So he pushes down Aditya Pawar, Lalit, and rest of them. So Rishabh Banerjee, he's done his personal best, I would believe. But would any more changes happen? We still got 2 minutes 30 seconds to go.
That is a wonderful lap time from Rishabh Banerjee. Exactly what's needed. Navneet Kumar here is right in the thick of things, or wants to be. 33.3 opening sector, so that is 0.7 of a second down off the board at this stage. Trying to find some more time out there to move on forward. He's in 7th at this moment. Half a second needed to get to Rishabh Banerjee, but he's already 0.2 down, so he's got to find 0.2 on the fastest time overall. If he wants those sorts of improvements. There is Rishabh right now in 4th position on the road, but still with 2 minutes to go, nowhere in the right position is Arrow Ravindra, which would be absolutely huge for this at the moment. Kathadia, 38.806, good enough for 3rd at this stage.
Then you were talking about the qualifying times coming down and getting a little better. Yesterday, we had about only 5 cars coming in under 1 minute 40. Today, look at the screen, and we've already got 11 cars clocking under 1 minute 40. So can we make that 12? Can Raj Tula or Swaraj Yadav bring it down to 1 minute, under 1 minute 40? It's a possibility.
Certainly is. 1 minute 18 seconds remaining in qualifying. You can finish the lap that you start here in this qualifying session, as everybody will be looking to try and get things going. Amit out there on a lap at the moment on the brakes into turn number 8 and getting it nice and neatly sorted through this section. He'd like a little bit more room. He's got just under 1/10 of a second's buffer margin to Steve Smuts just behind us. He really does jam on the brakes late here into the next corner, turn number 11 here before 12 follows up very, very swiftly. And look at him, he's up in the second sector by just a little bit. He's up by 2/3 of a 10th of a second here, trying to make that push over to the final couple of corners. The sweeping S's section, nice and neat, avoids those anti-cut curves very, very aggressively. And now here we go, final corner of Roma is going to be all about this drive forward. Has he got exactly what he needs over the line? 38.7 is his best so far, and he puts down, it's a 38.8. It all went away in the final sector.
I thought he went a little too wide taking that corner there. He had it so wonderfully covered. I just was hoping that he would possibly come down. Can Steve Smart match 1 minute 38.7? He's done it before. All he's got to do is just make sure, just carry that little space onto corner number 9 and 10 and 11. Those are the toughest points. Steve Smart was telling us yesterday, he possibly didn't know where to turn in. He had to put those liners there just to understand, imagining liners, and I hope he's able to bring that to the game today. 1 minute 18 so far. How close is he coming down? We are coming down to the last few corners. How is it going to? Is he be able to take 1 minute 38.7? This is the last 3 corners are going to make it count.
Absolutely. Ravindra's gone into P5 with his qualifying lap time. That's bumped a lot of people down. Smuts making a drive to the line, and he can't find improvement. 38.876. He was down in the second sector, couldn't quite gather it back up again. Thaddeus out there on a lap, but he's down 0.6 of a second right now, so that one will not be enough to find improvement. And unless something truly magical happens from Rishabh Banerjee, I think that's all we have got written here in this qualifying session. We'll take a look over the line. It's a long drag out to the final corner to the start-finish line, and you can see it's a 140.0, so just a final rep in there from Rishabh Banerjee, who has broken the top 4 here with that 4th place in qualifying. Just the last driver out there trying to set a time is Raghav Budaraja, but I think that he's just on the wrong side here of the clock, and we'll dive down into the pit. So we'll get up confirmation of qualifying results then for you, ladies and gentlemen. It is Amit Kuti who will be on the pole position, 138.704. We will have Steve Smuts alongside him, the winner yesterday, with Oshan Kathadia in 3rd position. Rishabh Banerjee with a career best 4th place in qualifying, and a career worst qualifying for Arrow Ravindra. He starts from 5th place overall. Aditya Pawar, who brings up a huge list of drivers here in that 139 bracket here with a 139.7. He has Lalit Jabak and Navneet Kumar for company on row 4. Row 5 will see Tej Patel and Munjal Savla there in 9th and 10th position. with Raghav Budaraja 11th, Abhimanyu Menon there in 12th position. Swaraj Yadav starts 13th, Garvit Loda in 14th position, and there is Raj Tula rounding out the top 15 drivers here in qualifying at a snowscape in Via Lunga. But what is very crucial then about qualifying is that was an important one for Amit Kuti. Got himself to the top. He got exactly what he needed. We're going to step aside for just a couple of minutes here. When we come back, we'll be here with race 2 of the weekend here from Via Lunga.
Racing, competing, is in my blood. It's part of me. It's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. It stands up before anything else.
So we've been here for 10 years now, and we've been kind of creating a journey. We've been very much focusing on young drivers in order to create also a wider scale in this country.
The idea of Volkswagen as a brand is to support and grow motorsport.
They will not be able to hear anything.
So here's your starting grid then, ladies and gentlemen. Amit Kuti then on the front of the grid with Steve Smuts alongside him. Oshan Kataria and Rishab Banerjee are third and fourth. Aditya Pawar in fifth and Lalit Jabak in sixth, with Navneet Kumar, Tej Patel, Munjal Sabla and Raghav Budaraja making the top 10. Abhimanyu Menon, Swaraj Yadav, Garvit Loda, Raj Tula, Jamie Shaw, the big missing name from that top 15 who's possibly had an issue getting himself over to the starting grid here, Solomon, is Ara Ravindra, who's not there in the top 15.
We already talking about drama during the start of the race as well. I'm just a little wondering. I mean, he's not going to be on the grid now. Would he be somewhere starting right at the back? How would he be able to start in time? But Amit Kuti, this is the time for him to basically make more advantage of it. Ara Ravindra on 304, 20 points, trailing the championship leader. It's not good news, in simple words. Really not good news for Ara Ravindra.
Not at all. You've got to make hay while the sun shines. And when you're already down 20 points and something like this happens, these are huge points that are going to be left on the table. And Amit Kuti effectively is given a hall pass here to potentially get a one-race advantage over his main championship rival, which would be absolutely huge in the context of his season. But it's not all over and done with. The likes of Steve Smuts will want to try and get in there as well. You've also got this big battle here for fifth place on down in the championship. Navneet Kumar holds that at the moment, but he's only 2 points split from Raghav there in sixth position, like Prasik Sonawana down in eighth place. Rishab Banerjee rounding out the top 10 at this moment in time. And if we can flick over the page at the moment to 11th on down, you start to see where the mid-pack all starts to bring itself into play here, Solomon. And what's really key about this championship is that mid-pack always seems to be different drivers up there challenging inside that top 10.
So Steve Smart has a big advantage here because one thing is for Oshan Kotadia always had a very good starts. If you generally see that Aditya Pawar is also decent with starts. So Steve Smart is already fancying a possibly an overtaking maneuver somewhere between turn 2 and turn 3. Amit Koti needs a very good start, that goes without saying. But what a time this has been for Navneet Kumar and also for Rishabh Banerjee. Can he just improve on his performance? He's leapfrogged onto the championship table onto number 10th position. Remember, yesterday was somewhere between 15th and 20th. Now he's on number 10. Lot of time for him to make it count here.
Absolutely, and we just see the likes of Aditya Pawar in 11th position, Jamie Shaw just a point back, Raj Tula a point back from that as well. The top 13 are all fighting it out at the moment for 5th place in the championship, which shows you just how competitive this grid is at the moment. And then you got those maybe a little bit further down who are trying to get themselves inside the top 12 here today, give themselves a chance of pole position for race 3 of the night. You've got the likes of Garvit Loader, maybe hoping he can get their Lalija back. It's had great qualifying, but the race pace hasn't really translated. He's been caught up in a couple of instances here and there. That's why he's so far down the order in the championship.
So Steve Smart has always looked at his VPN to make it count. Every other racer here between the 15 to the 20th is hoping for that little changes to their setup to make it count there. So, as I said, during the qualifying, we had 11 cars, not 5, but 11 cars who clocked in under 1 minute 40. So, the lap times are going to break down. We're going to see some cars definitely setting in some close end action, and that's why we're all excited about it right now.
Certainly are. And then, of course, we'll move across to the final page and see who is exactly where in the championship standings. It's going to be a very, very interesting and difficult battle. We're just a couple of moments away here from getting ourselves towards some racing action here from Via Lunga in Italy. But really what you have to be looking at right now, Solomon, is maybe those drivers towards the back, hoping that there's going to be a couple of issues here in the opening lap, like there was ever so slightly for the likes of Raghav in the last race, so that they have the opportunity to jump maybe 5-10 positions on the opening lap.
When you're looking at 10, 11, and 12, you perfectly said it. It's just a point that separates them. Now, every point that they're able to take and every better start they're able to is going to definitely add to their kitty. And Swaraj Yadav will be hoping that he's able to put his little nightmares from the last 3 rounds to make it sure it counts this time around. So it's round number 4. And you still have one more race after this. So it's all that little learning that you're able to put in.
Absolutely. This is the 8th race that these drivers have conducted this season or will be conducting, and then they'll go to round 9 overall here in this 4th week of 6. So they know they've got work to be done. They know they've got to try and put some points on the board today to make sure that they have that as an opportunity here in this Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship. You've got the likes there, of course, of Glenn Sachitha, who had a really, really strong showing a couple of races ago, and you've got those drivers who are thinking about trying to find points. They all need to make sure that they are finishing inside of the points paying positions to give themselves as much of an opportunity as possible. Just 2 drivers yet to score any points in the championship who have turned up, and one of them is here today, and that's Nirav Jain, who will be hoping to get himself moving forward and finding his first points of the season. Sometimes a very difficult challenge to find points, Solomon, because you've got a really strong competitive field right now, highlighted by the driver on screen, Amit Kuti.
When you were talking about Amit Kuti, you pointed out that his ability to break late into a corner, that has really put him in good stead here. Now, let's just talk about certain aspect of this track, especially the Cava Grande, moving down to Campiganeo, all the way down to turn number 12. Now, it's those twisty corners where you're able to break late, get in that little bit of juice on that little bit of turn there when you come down to the home straight. That's really going to come to your advantage. So Amit Kuti has done well for himself by learning the art of breaking a little too late there.
certainly will be hoping that he needs a good run. Of course, it's a long run today in terms of the start of this race to the two Shamini corners, turns 4 and 5. Out on circuit, so you need to be very confident with the way that you get yourself off of the line. You can lose so many places early, and then it's a long road to recovery back through this one. It's 30 minutes worth of racing action today. No need for pit stops at all. They're going to be going pretty much from minute 1 to minute last, and there is Ara Ravindra, who I think may have just been able to get himself up on the grid where he's placed. I'm not too sure at this moment in time, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that when we get all of our graphics up on screen. It looks like that he is in position right now, which means that he could be okay to start from where he qualified 5th place.
Those are very, very nervous moments, right? Really don't know what goes inside the racer's mind. He would be hoping that he somehow is able to join in. So we are nervous about it as well, but then it just adds up to the whole drama on the championship table there. If Aro Ravindra is on the grid and he was able to take that challenge to Amit Kuti and Steve Smut as well.
He's got to take that challenge, and the only way he's going to be able to manage that and be able to do that, he is going to need to have a really good start and start picking off drivers one at a time. This is going to be one of those races where we have seen drivers pull away when we've seen battling get a little bit too feisty out on circuit. What about yesterday when we saw some amazing action, Solomon, where the likes of Kathadia and Ravindra and Kuti all tripped over each other, which gave Steve Smuts the win?
All right, so since we're talking about Steve Smut, I'm going to stick out my neck and say one more time it's going to be a Steve Smut who possibly has the advantage here today. I haven't got it right twice, but let me see if I'm going to get it this time.
Well, we will definitely see, but these drivers on the front row will be definitely having the best run of anybody into the opening couple of corners. Drivers getting their brakes all checked here and getting themselves ready for that start. They do wait a long time here in this series to make sure they get to the lights procedures. There'll be 6 red lights that will come up on the screen, and once they all turn off, we'll be racing for 30 minutes worth of action. Kuti is on the left-hand side of the circuit. He'll be hoping that he gets the best run of anybody at this moment in time. We're just about ready to get ourselves to the race start then. Here we go, 6 red lights. Let's get ourselves ready. 2 drivers starting this one then from pit lane. Let's get ourselves underway then here, racing at Vayalunga, and Kuti's got a good start there from the front of the grid there with just Steve Smuts behind. There is the likes of Kathadia trying to make progress here as they go through turn 2 and 3 for the very first time, all flat out as they try and work a way forward and gain those places. There is Kathadia. They start crossing the beams a little bit as they jam on the brakes into the next corner, and I think it's just about fine. Someone's running wide in the background. Ravindra's already up to 4th. That's Rishabh Banerjee dropping back, and that's in a little bit of trouble. Is that there running into this is Ravindra? It's the needle, tries to jump his way up in 2nd position, and he's in the snow trying to keep himself going. Mars positions, Lalija back up to get through on the inside. No, he's still fighting on the inside. 3 wide. They're going through the Campagnano.
This was very, very interesting as well, with Amit Kuti just running away from the scene as well. Aro Ravindra got into a little bit of tangle. Rishabh Banerjee got into drag. Let's see, one of the cars just moving off the track for a little bit. We've been talking about not taking on the track limit because it's very, very severe. As we see, Ushan Kathadia takes advantage and moves out of position number 2. Let's remind ourselves, he started at number 3 and now he's up to number 2. Navneet Kumar will be struggling there for the fight with Munjal as well. Amit Kuti with the race leader already at least about 2 or 3 car lengths lead already. Rishabh Banerjee up to number 3 now.
Yes, and a lot of drivers have struggled. Smuts is already down to 6th. The driver that we just saw off for a second time was Ara Ravindra. He's had a very entertaining qualifying session. Now that means that it's full advantage. Amit Kuti could put maybe 50 points down on the board. Here is Smuts down the inside then of Lalija back and moves up into 5th place. And his recovery drive starts now with 28 minutes left to go on the clock and a little bit of chump change. And on top of that, a very, very aggressive start. Aditya Pawar just had a very quiet and silent start today. He's already up into 4th position. He's looking at those top 3, thinking these are huge points for me in that fight for 5th place in the championship. As we see some drivers trying to work their way down through. I think that was Munjal Savla trying to find a way through. He couldn't quite find it.
Rishabh Banerjee moves up to position number 3. I was talking initially about Arun Ravindra. I had a feeling that he possibly went on the brakes a little bit, but there could be some technical difficulty there with Arun Ravindra. Lalit now trying to consolidate on number 6. Just to tell you, Lalit started at 6, stays at number 6. So he's not going anywhere. He's stuck there for a bit now. As Munjal Savla will love to take the battle ahead of him. But now as we're looking at, Amit Puri has a clear track ahead of him. Jake, you talked about Steve Smart. So he's been in this position before, losing out on the start. Now it's the time to fight back.
Well, this was all about drivers being aggressive off the line. Smuts had really not much to go with as he made a small mistake of his own, had contact with Ravindra who went off, and it all sort of came along and became a chain reaction from there. But there is Rishabh Banerjee in third position, and how much would he like a podium at this stage? Smuts there in the background looked like he was under pressure for a moment there from Lalit back, but that doesn't work. Slightly wide goes Kapadia as well, trying to get himself through turn 14, the S section before the final corner of Roma sets up a brand new lap in this race. This is a very, very difficult track, and we're seeing this from these drivers. They are just now starting to settle down into their groove, into their rhythm, and now they need to think about where they're battling and who they're battling. Ravindra already on the recovery drive right now here. He's back into 15th place.
Amit Puri sets in the fastest lap. That's the obvious clear track, takes advantage. Lalit will still try to take the battle to Steve Smith. Tej Patel quietly moves into position number 8. He started at 8 again. So Lalit and Tej Patel are right now in the respective position where they started. Now Munjal Savla started on 9. He's dropped down 5 places into number 13. Arun Ravindra is now classified at number 15. Can he move into the top 12 because he's got to limit the damage to take those points?
Certainly needs to here. There is Munjal Savla, position 13, and he's trying to hold back a train here. Contact, and that's with Ryden Samaravel there, who will drop down 2 positions. It's very easily done at turn 7. Up on 2 wheels they went, and now he'll lose another one as well, down into 17th, but he's late on the brakes. He's able to maintain that 16th position. So easily done. Ravindra picks up an extra place there. Siddharth Satyan now finds himself inside the top 15. But now Ravindra trying to get up into 13th place here against Munjal Savla here, and maybe force away down the inside. There's very, very tricky hairpin down the bottom. There's contact. Oh, there's 2 over there at the hairpin there. And one of them, I believe, is going to be Raghav, who again runs into trouble there down to the hairpin.
So then, Arun Ravindra says thank you very much in just 2 laps. He's already up 3 positions. So, in fact, in 2 corners, he's up 2 positions. Amit Puri's fastest lap, 1:39.226. Let's remind ourselves the fastest lap time was 1 minute 38.7 in qualifying. So we do believe better lap times are going to come in any moment.
Those times start to get going now. Ravindra side by side here to Curva Grande, turn number 2, and he wisely backs out of it then compared to Munjal Savla, who was not having no for an answer. He was going to go through, and you wonder maybe with the damage Ravindra maybe has, and he's not got everything in a straight line, and if he doesn't, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here today, trying to make overtakes in the first couple of sectors. There is Garvit Loader in 10th position right now. He's trying to get to Raj Tula here in 9th. On the brakes, they will go into turn 7 here, the Campagnano corner, and that's slightly wide of a line. Contact on the exit. That will open the door for Garvit Loader, but he can't get the drive that he needs, and it's just about held for the moment as we go on board into turn number 8. Missed apex. There's a lunge down the inside, and it looks like for the time being wide there with contact was the overtake made. Garvit Loader has to give that one back then here in 10th position, and he'll have to try another way, a clean way to get around.
There was quite a bit of contact. In fact, there was 3 consecutive contacts there. Now Garvit Loader just got to possibly just relax a little bit and let the car get out of it, because the guys at the end of the race, you don't want the penalty to go back down. Good that he sensibly handed over the place back again. Now Swaraj Yadav, not exactly kind of outing that he'll be looking at, but then he's enjoying the contest there. Now in position number 11, started at 11, stays at 11.
Yep, he's doing well at the moment. You always want to gain on the place that you start in a race, so that's going to be key. Ravindra there is just behind him as well. He just made the pass on Munjal Savla through the S's section, that Sochi style S's section that you see out there on track. And this race at the moment is looking like it's going one direction at this moment in time for the championship leader. Ravindra still under pressure here from Savla down at the speedy corner. No surprises there that he's struggling a little bit in a straight line. He gathers it back though through the corners, and by pure skill is the way that he gets through. Your top five: Kuti, Kavadia, Banerjee, Pawar and Smuts is the way it stands at this first race here of racing at Vallelunga. There'll be a 12-car reverse grid race following after this one, ladies and gentlemen, so don't think that this is the only event that we have on the calendar. Here comes Tej Patel, a little bit too brave down the inside, trying to get through Navneet Kumar. He has to stay behind for the moment. We did, though, get an opportunity to have a chat with Oshan Kavadia earlier on. Here's what he had to say. He's currently in second.
And yeah, I started sim racing officially, I would say, in March 2020. Yeah, I had decided that I wanted a sim rig as such, but yeah, it was just that the first thing was, okay, let's finish masters, then let's get a sim rig. And then I was like, okay, let's find a job, then let's get a sim rig. And then it transitioned even further that, okay, now I have a job and now I'm going to get married. So once I have an apartment, let's get a sim rig. So it just kept on going ahead. And luckily I decided, okay, nothing doing. 2019 December, I said Christmas gift has to be the sim.
Well, Kavadia hasn't necessarily fallen away as much as maybe people expected here against Amit Kuti Solomon. The big key in terms of this battle is that Kuti is being matched pace for pace at the moment. Aditya Pawar trying to chase down into third position, but has to be worried about who's behind in fifth place. Steve Smuts definitely wants to try and find a way through, unless there is some damage, and he is struggling to get anywhere near.
Now, I was trying to see if Steve Smart is having a little bit of a braking problem, because you do see him getting aggressive, but then I just thought he was not going as late on brakes as he would want. But Aditya Pawar is doing a very good job of defending so far. So give him about another 5. And Steve Smart just showing that intent. Hey, I'm just there. You need to, if you're going to give me that space, I'm going to take that. Aditya Pawar stays at number 4, but Rishabh Banerjee now trying to isolate himself at number 3.
Trying to get away, but he's got himself about a second to play with at the moment. Does run wide though through the chicane. That will allow Aditya Pawar a chance to get back. Now Swaraj Yadav under pressure from Ravindra. Look at this train starting to form up. You've got Raj Tula holding back the tides, it seems, at this moment. This is a very, very aggressive battle that we see at this stage, and they're all going to be swarming towards turn 4 and the Shabini corners here with a lot of intent. How good is Garvit's run? The answer is it's pretty decent. He may have a chance.
He does, because he started at number 13, now he's fighting at number 10. Now, the problem is he's got one of the championship leaders, that's Aro Ravindra, stuck at number 12. So he's in the point. Love this view of the top angle. It really gives you the kind of how close the action can be. So here they come onto the right-hander. How close he tries to break a little bit. Look for that little space. Garvit Lorak just about closes that door on him. Swaraj Yadav now sees behind him Aro Ravindra versus moves into position number 11 as Swaraj Yadav falls down to position number 12. Aro Ravindra, is he going to come down in strong as well? Yes, he does. As he moves up to position number 10. 2 overtaking maneuvers and two corners. Well done.
3. Make it 3, because that's wide from Raj Tula, and through goes Ravindra again, but Tula's not giving this one up here, jamming on the brakes for turn 8. They'll go later on the brakes then is Raj Tula, but has he gone too deep? He has just slightly overcooked it, but he's got enough drive on the exit to hold it for turn 9. Brilliant battling at the moment. Ravindra using the in-system curves to get himself ahead then into what is 10th place, but he's now having to defend suddenly. Schrodinger's overtaken full flow. Garvit Loader trying to attack on the outside here of turn 12. This very tough hairpin, and well, Aro Ravindra does just enough to hold off. Now he's got to try and get past Tula next.
This was very good. The train really brought in the real racing down here again. Aro Ravindra really was waiting like a sniper there, trying to look for an opportunity, and he got that opportunity to get. Well done, Aro, but can he move up? He's got to at least move into the top 7 to limit the damage on the championship lead.
certainly does. He's in 10th at the moment, and he'll try to chase. We'll step aside for one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Back with more of your VW VRC Round 8 after this.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
Suarez Yadav now has gone very, very deep into the Shamini corner, and he will be put to the back of the train in 13th position. After that run behind Munjal Savlo, Raj Tula and Garvit Loda, Ara Ravindra now up into 9th place on the road, and his recovery continues here at the snowscape that is Vyalunga. Here is Aditya Pawar under pressure. This is Steve Smuts wanting to try and get in, and if there was ever a time that Steve Smuts needed to find some confidence and find those overtakes, it has to be now. It looks like he's dealing with a little bit of damage out there on the car after the opening lap collision with Ravindra, so he's got work to be done here to Steve Smuts to move himself forward.
So now the fight for the third position has become a three-way fight, with Rishabh leading that fight, trying to hold off Aditya. Now, Steve Smuts will be hoping that Aditya and Rishabh maybe challenge themselves. He could have a sense of an opportunity, or just to possibly slow them down into a corner. Rishabh Banerjee is holding them not far behind, but I'm just hoping that this can get a little close, maybe on to turn number 10 possibly.
There is potential for these moves, but one of the keys about turn 10, it's a very, very tough place to go and make it over, make something happen. We have just lost feed, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll be trying to get back some action in the not too distant future. So we'll hopefully find that working. As Pawar down the inside goes Steve Smuts, and he takes the place away. So that one works out then, as Steve Smuts moves up into 4th place.
Well, he's a fighter, Steve Smuts. So the VPN is doing well for himself now. All he's got to just limit the damage on that car. So Steve Smuts up to number 4, I think, on this the leaderboard. Showing him at number 5. That could be updated a little bit later. It's a little bit back. Amit Kuti is still the race leader again. It's a little jumbled up, but let's look at the action on the track. Aru Ravindra still goes up to position number 7. Now it's sorted out itself. Amit Kuti at number 1. And he is almost on an isolation drive.
Certainly is. We've just noticed that Lalit Jabak has run into technical issues out on circuit, so he has retired the car, it seems, at this stage, which means that everyone jumps up a position. So Ravindra now moves up into 7th place. Tej Patel in 6th at the moment. Navneet Kumar's dropped down all the way to 12th position now at this stage with that sort of incident, but it's still Amit Kuti leads. There is Navneet in 12th place. He's got behind him a great battle between Siddharth Satyan there and Jamie Short, 13th and 14th. These two fighting out hard. Short runs a little bit wide there over the AstroTurf there, which is covered by a nice smattering of snow, as they now go through the left and right to the S section.
We got to give a little credit to Aru Ravindra, because one starting right at the back of the grid, it's a very, very slow track when it comes to the tight corner. Now he was stuck in traffic for a very, very long time. He waited his time, a lot of patience, showed a lot of grit. Now he's up to number 7. Can he move into the top 5? Maybe I'm expecting a little too much, but he's really shown the grit. He possibly may not have the pace, but then if the race just slows down a little bit for the rest of the others, Aru Ravindra can move into the top 5, I believe.
Well, he's had a couple of incidents out on circuit already. He'll want to try and get back up into that 6th position. The driver, though, who's in 3rd is having a career race at the moment. It is Rishabh Banerjee at this stage, who is absolutely flying about. We had the chance to talk to him earlier on as Ravindra looks to try and get the move done, and very easily he's going to be let that one, or will it here, by Tej Patel, who will fight back on the brakes again. Another driver trying to go late. He's gone too late, and Ravindra here trying to pick the power up on the exit here for the next turn. Has he got the move? Yes, he has. But we had the chance to speak to Rishabh Banerjee, is what he had to say. Like we're struggling here to bring Rishabh Banerjee. Here we go.
My name is Rishabh. I was interested in cars, driving, and like the whole racing scenario since young, and then over the years I've just followed F1 and all the racing series, and they have developed my interest through there. Yeah. So my most favorite driver would be Max Verstappen right now, and I like the Red Bull Racing team. His fight with Charles Leclerc last year in Silverstone, that was pretty cool. So yeah, I like that a lot.
So right at the start of interview there, Rishabh Banerjee losing the place to Steve Smuts, who finds his way back up onto the podium. So his damage limitation done very, very well at the moment. We haven't seen for a long, long stretch of time the situation with the leading two. It's still Amit Kuti ahead of Oshan Kafadia in second position. There is Kafadia right now trying to climb the hill. He's still not a million miles away from Amit Kuti, who's keeping him at about a second and a half behind here, Solomon, which is all he needs to do.
Well, it's all about getting the job done now. Ashan Kotaria, I had a feeling, I was possibly sensing that, hey, I possibly have a chance to challenge Amit Kuti, and why not? He's possibly had the best starts in a very long time and might as well take advantage of it. But Steve Smutt, he's fought well, so has Arul Ravindra. So Steve Smutt at number 3 and Arul Ravindra at number 6. Pretty interesting with just about over 11 minutes to go. This is sim racing and anything could happen.
It certainly does, and you now start thinking about here with Amit Kuti. He's just got to keep those laps ticking over. He's got 11 and a half minutes as he crosses the start-finish line to work things out. Kafadia is keeping him very much as company at this stage, which will not be the most ideal situation for Kuti, but it will continue to force him to push on forward and find those spaces and find those positions he very much needs to. There is Steve Smutt in third position, and it looks like for Arul Ravindra in sixth place. It's a long, long road if he's going to try and chase this one down. You can see even now he's still not in frame in sixth position.
Ravindra has a lot of work today, so it would be a tall order unless and until the top 5 make a mistake and go off the track a little bit. As we see the fight still coming down as Arul Ravindra still stays around at number 6. But then Rishabh Banerjee has been having a very, very busy weekend, and that's the way it's going to be for at least for the next 10 minutes as well.
He's trying to find those places, and he now knows he's playing a defensive card against Tej Patel, who's not letting this one go as they go into the Campagnano, turn number 7 out on circuit. So work to be done here for Ravindra. He's just got to stay calm here because he knows he's driving wounded a little bit out there on circuit. So work to be done, but he's just trying to keep himself in the best possible position that he can. From Tej Patel in 7th, who's having a really, really strong drive at this stage. What we are going to be able to do for you though, ladies and gentlemen, is step away the final time here in this round 8 event. We'll get round 9 coming up in just a little bit afterwards, but crucially 10 minutes to go, and we'll be here afterwards to call the end of this race.
Power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Suarez Yadav then in 9th position. This battle still going on here for 8th place on the road, and every battle seemingly is for very crucial points in championship perspectives at this stage. Moving forward, trying to find that extra place here and that extra place there. Solomon, it's now all about gearing up for your one final driver that you want to get through in the final 10 minutes.
You got it spot on, Jake. Now, I just was wondering, have they started losing a little bit of grip? Because you see comes a couple of cars just going a little wide, not being able to sustain that grip for a little bit. They got to be a little bit careful. Now, if you're looking at the benefactors, the highest guys who actually managed to get the most out of this race, Arul Ravindra at least about 10 position. Steve Smutt has gone up to number 3. We also had Rishabh Banerjee was stuck at number 6, now fighting it out at number 4. So these are your major. The Garbage Lord now having his own moment there. Still fighting at number 12, making sure that there's an earnest fight as well, with along with Raghav and Munjal staying at number 13 and 14.
Work to be done then, as Garvit Loader in 12th place wants to get by Jamie Shaw in 11th, who has made a great run of things actually in the late stages of this race, jumping up into the 11th position and now starting to just find a little bit of consistency in pace. Next up will be Siddharth Satyan, who's had a good run today. He's up into 10th position right now, and every single place is going to be fought for from now until the end of this one. So we'll keep an eye out on these sorts of drivers trying to get on through. And now you start wondering here, for those in the maybe skirts of the top 10, where is the best position to be? Because, of course, there's that top 12 invert. These drivers that we're looking at right now are going to be starting right on the front for round 9.
So Siddharth Satyan started at number 15, now is at number 10, so it's a good job so far. He would definitely like to take it on to Raj Tula. Raj Tula started at 12, moves up to position number 9 at the moment on the graphics that we're able to look at. Amit Kuti now slowly going to be getting challenged by Oshan Kotadia, close but not close enough. Steve Smart is not in the screen as well. He's way back, at least I believe more than a half a second back. So that's a lot of work on him back, more than a second back now. Rishabh Banerjee stays at number 4 at the moment. Will he be able to take the fight to Steve Smart? I don't think so at the moment.
Well, here's Rishabh Banerjee under pressure here, this 4th position, because Aditya Pawar wants to try and find a way through and wants to try and gain that position and do so everything with a nice run of things. It's worth noticing the reverse grid, is from yesterday's race results and not from today's results. So this is effectively just another free race that's put into the board, and I'm sure that a lot of drivers will be hoping to take this one in their stride and move on forward with this result. So Aditya Pawar will know that this is for some big cookies. He's got nothing to lose right now as he tries to chase down for that 4th place and gain some vital points, knowing he's not going to get anything more out of it here today. Worth looking back though at Tej Patel, who is there in 7th position on the road at the moment. We had the opportunity to get a little bit of a conversation with him. He has just fallen off of the back of Ara Ravindra right now, but 7th position, definitely nothing to shake a stick at.
Hi everyone, I'm Tej Patel, I'm 17 years old. Right now I'm studying in Padar International School and I'm pursuing my 12th grade. So very lengthy answer to it, because like from anywhere and everywhere I've always been attracted to cars. Like even movies, I was attracted to Lightning McQueen from Cars 1, 2, 3 and Fast and Furious, and even on road, like just any car would excite me. So cars have always pulled me. So first I was searching for kart racing clubs, and Rio Racing at that time was in Pune. So I actually went for the beginners course when I was like in 6th grade or something. And I spent a weekend over there with my mom. Then when I came back, it was just a little, it would be tough for me to continue it with my studies going on. I couldn't like make it back and forth to Pune. And then, yeah, I was just pursuing my studies and waiting for something else to happen.
Well, this is where you start seeing here these drivers just try and get themselves over to the end of this race. Tej Patel there, currently having a good run. Now look at Oshan Kathadia here at the front. He's been quietly working away 10th by 10th like an artisan with his tools, and he's currently got himself right in position to potentially have a fight to the end here with Amit Kuti, your race leader.
So Amit Kuti would be possibly thinking that he needn't be too aggressive because he is the championship leader. Aru Ravindra is now at number 6, so he's got a comfortable lead over him. It's not the time to do something stupid and think about it. He does the move, Oshan Kotadia on the inside, and lets him take it out. And thank you very much, Amit Kuti. That's exactly what I wanted.
It's brilliant misdirection at its finest. Kathadia saw eyes bigger than the belly, and then all of a sudden he's now got to try and do that all over again. He hasn't lost too much time. That's the crucial fact. He's able to stay within a range at the moment, is Kathadia. No harm, no foul, no contact there with that sort of incident, but he's got to dial it back a little bit and make sure that he's working the grip levels he has available in the last 3 3/4 minutes.
I thought he almost just missed the brakes or just missed the gear there, but that's the way it is. But now he's still on it right now, keeping it earnest there. So Oshan Kotadia will be able to line him up. So let's just see if one of a little quick straight coming up. So after this right-hander, he just overtook the curves again. He's getting a little aggressive. He's got to just space it out, wait for the straights to come to him, and then possibly look at turn number 10 or turn number 11 to basically slow it down a little bit there. Oshan Kotadia right on earnest. How is it going to come around this time around?
Well, he's got a good run here, but he's not close enough to make a move into the Shimini corners, turns 4 and 5. This is one into the Curva Grande of turn number 2. out here on circuit. He just needs to get himself within a range, and this is what we see here in this sort of race. It's all about patience. These opening sectors are all about pace, and he really jams on the brakes very, very late, uses all of the road, and he's trying to attack here on the exit against Amit Kuti. He's got so much more available, and this is where we saw Ravindra make that double overtake, which turned into a triple at turn 7. Again, Kathadia's looking for it. He's defended all the way by Amit Kuti on the straight. And look at Kathadia, look how late he brakes. He tries to go around the outside. It's almost like rushing against a brick wall at the moment. You just hope that you find enough here to hit the brakes and move away.
So Amit Kuri is basically putting the car where Ushan Kotaria does not want to see. He's not giving him any space at all. Brilliantly defended so far. Now Ushan Kotaria comes around, would be able to take an advantage of somewhere onto the straight very, very quickly. Stay close enough and then hope for that little mistake. Okay, tries to take a wider turn, but Ushan will have to try that one more time again. Tries to have the look on the inside. No space there again. Amit Koti defending well one more time.
He's trying everything, but look at the run off the exit here that Kathadi has managed to find. He's put the power down here for the S's section. Round the outside, he tries to look. It's going to be tough. Inside for the next corner, no. Doesn't have it there. So another really strong look then by Oshan Kathadia. They've got the gap over Steve Smuts to have this sort of battle, and they know with how much they're holding themselves up right now, this will be the final lap of the race they go on to here and try and find all the pace that they need to. One lap shootout between Kathadia now and Amit Kuti. Is this going to be another one that adds to the legend that Amit is bringing up in sim racing, or will Kathadia find a way through to pick up a big, big victory? He stays very narrow, does Kathadia, here into the first of the Shamini corners, and we'll be looking at this run for turn 7 once again, using all of the road possible to try and get that slingshot out of turn 5, the second Shamini corner, to get the run for the Campagnano. Turn number 7, again Amit Kuti having to go to the right-hand side of the circuit to defend this one. Kathadia's got to go the long way around. He's run out of time on that inside line, and again, he's just got to be patient here, work out a way to get to the inside. They're pretty much bumper to bumper, as it were, as they try and find that way through. Again, it's hard to the inside then from Kuti. He's going to have to force Kathadia to make the long road around. He takes the big wide line trying to pick up the exit, but you can attack brilliantly out of turn 8 up to 9 and through this section. This is the run that you need, almost just giving shots to the back bumper. There goes Kathadia, and again at turn 10 it's pretty much middle of the road driving from Amit Kuti. No way through. Door opens up though for 12. He's on the outside though, but he's got to get a run on the inside potentially. Oh, he left the door open here. Kathadia dives down the inside. Has he got enough side-by-side traffic? Got out of the way. Contact door to door as they go for 12 and 13, the S's section, and Kathadia gets through with 2 corners to go. Still a chance though at Roma for Kuti, but his tyres finally decided to let go. Kathadia worked hard and persevered throughout the entirety of round 8, and finally, with a couple of corners to go, he comes to the line and he takes the win here with a wonderful, wonderful overtake.
That was absolutely thrilling cliffhanger stuff. This is why we watch sim racing, and this is we love to see races on the track. I was just worried maybe one of the back markers is going to stop a little bit of action there, but the back marker did well, getting off the racing action, saying, hey guys, you race it out. Aaron Ramdar should be able to bring that car home at number 6, limiting that damage. Tej Patel follows him, but what a time it has been for Sean Kotaria. Take a bow.
There is Tej Patel coming home with 7th. The crucial number is 6, because that is 6 points that Amit Kuti has dropped there in terms of that battle to the end. Kathadia will take those with a pinch of salt, because he'll be closing down in on Steve Smuts, who finished 3rd today in this race, and a huge charge through from the likes of Shaw and Sathian here. Raghav getting back into 12th position then come the end of that race. A big battle for those then in the mid to late pack, trying to make sure that they got everything that worked out. So it was Oshan Kathadia who picked up the win. It was actually Kuti in 2nd and Steve Smuts 3rd, with Banerjee 4th, Pawar in 5th, and Ara Ravindra in 6th position. Tej Patel would pick up 7th with Yadav in 8th and Raj Tula 9th. Jamie Shaw would round out the top 10 with Sathyan and Budaraja, with Munjal Savla, Abhimanyu Menon and Ryden Samaravel making up the top 15 here today in this first race of 2 that we're having today at Vallelunga. But what is going to be very, very crucial about the way that we move forward here with these races. We are going to bring in a couple of drivers potentially for interview, but if we don't have the time for that, we will be stepping aside for about 20 minutes or so before that second race starts. But Solomon, before we go over to that sort of thing, we got ourselves a very, very important opportunity to talk about this, and that is that you have yourself that 12-car reverse grid coming up from the results of the first round that we had yesterday.
So yeah, Steve Smart is going to start at number 12, and someone like Aru Ravindra will start a little bit early, a little bit ahead of them. Now this is going to be very interesting. Now Amit Kote has shown his class. Can he do it one more time again? But then he's limited the damage by finishing at number 2. I really like the fact that he just played defensive, not tried to go way too aggressive and Oshan Kotario, but nothing to take away the credit from Oshan. He's done a fabulous job to take the race win.
Speaking of fabulous jobs, we're able to get an opportunity to talk with him right now. Oshan, that was a quiet race in some respects. You just had to tinker away, find a 10th here, a 10th there, save the tyres as much as possible. But come the end of that one, you saw that Amit was struggling out of a couple corners, and you picked your moment coming out of the very tight turn 12. Oshan, do you have a copy of us there, buddy? It looks like for the moment that we're not going to be able to talk to Oshan Kasadia for a moment, but we will see if we can get Amit Kuti in for a chat here, who finished in second position. Now, Amit, that was a case where you had pretty much 29 minutes and about 58 seconds of lead, but ultimately the tyres just didn't have enough for you.
As you say, it was quite annoying to have led so far, and annoyingly, I had, I think, with 3-4 laps to go, I had a small lag spike which really lost me around 3-4 tenths, and I was kind of back with Oshan again, having maintained that lead for so long. So once he got in, it was just quite easy for him to stay with me in the draft. And I think we had a pretty good battle at last. I had to just give the position away for preventing a crash or any sorts of thing, because I knew I was ahead of Aro, and like even if I just finish ahead of both Steve and Aro, it would be enough. So I was just wanting to be a bit cautious there.
You really defended well, but you did play on your mind Aro Ravindra, because he's now further down on the championship fight is concerned. So strategy coming up for the coming up race? Reverse grid?
I don't think there's any strategy, to be honest. It's just damage limitation and trying to not get into any collision and having a huge amount of luck.
Well, you find yourself an extra 14 points now. You're 34 points clear at the top of the championship heading into this race. So you've got yourself a lot of space to make mistakes if they do come along, or if things don't go your way in this round 9 battle that you'll be moving into in just a little bit. Do you feel now that you have yourself established a gap and now you're given maybe a little bit more license to be a little bit freer about how you pick and choose your moves?
Yeah, like also along with the lead, I think 2 races are going to be not included. So there was 2 races, so even that is there. But still, I want to give my all for every race, and anything can happen in motorsports. So it's always better to just go for it every time, and not rely on something that is yet to happen.
Well, there we have Amit Kuti coming home with second position overall at this moment in time. Just going to see if we can get an opportunity to talk to Oshan Kathadia again. Oshan, do you have a copy of us, buddy? And that answer is going to be a very firm no. A real shame as he's picked up the victory overall. We do have the chance to talk to Steve Smuts, though, who finished in 3rd position. Steve, that's a recovery drive, and it's a recovery drive for the fact that you had that contact there coming out of turn 5 into 6 on lap 1, and that really just shuffled the field all the way back.
Yeah, it was a bit of a rough start. I don't actually know who hit me just yet, but I'll check the replay. Honestly, it was. Feel like I was a little bit stolen from me, but it's racing. I guess it's what's gonna happen.
Steve, you seem to be turning into a habit of turning your recovery drive into a practice now. So you seem to be getting very good at that.
Yeah, well, you're constantly practicing, right? You're trying to get better and better. the guys didn't put up too much of a fight, thankfully, for fifth and fourth place, or fourth and third rather. So luckily, I had an open road and a little bit of practice time.
An open road is always very nice to see for you, Steve. But now you've got that reverse grid coming in. Of course, it's going to be from the results of yesterday where you get that reverse. So you've got the hard yards to do today. 12th place on the grid coming up. And you've had a little bit of experience trying to battle your way through the field. Is this going to be a case where you're just hoping that drivers make it easy for you today?
I don't think anyone's going to make it easy for me, but we'll see how it goes. Again, it's reverse grid, so it's really, really difficult to overtake here. But it is what it is. Whatever happens, whatever happens at this point.
Absolutely. Steve Smuts then coming home with third position in that race. We do finally have Oshan Kathadi. He's had a couple of issues trying to get a little conversation with us, but we have him right now. Oshan, that was patience. You had to save the tyres pretty much for the entire stint, and with a little bit of lady luck as well. You found the one weakness that Amrit Kuti had, and you completely exploited it.
Yeah, so I from my yesterday's race, I kind of experienced that tire wear was a really big issue, and I was trying to push really hard in yesterday's race. So I just tried to tinker with the setup a bit today, and I just held off. Like I was really tempted to fight, but I did not want to let anyone back in the game. So I just wanted it to be between the both of us. So come 5 minutes, then I started trying to push a bit more, and then Amit's tires were visibly off when he started to push. So yeah, it was just a game of who breaks later after that.
Credit to you. Really love the kind of move that you made on the last lap just before the checkered flag. Now, moving into the next race, you do believe conserving tires is what is going to really matter taking on to the podium.
Yes, totally. This track is really eating the left tires out, and 40 minutes. I have no idea how the tires might last. I think a pit stop might be helpful if there is any.
Well, there may be strategy on the horizon. We'll see how things all look out for everyone who's trying to make that one work and make that happen for you. But crucially for you, you bring back the ground that you lost yesterday to Steve Smuts, and you've got yourself in a better position for this reverse grid coming up, starting 10th place on the grid. So do you feel now that this is the time to start maybe getting the ball rolling, getting another good run forward, and maybe it might just be a case where you drag back points on Steve and find yourself third in the championship?
Yeah, so I think now the whole game is about getting as many points as possible. So tomorrow's race, now the next race also is the same. So totally got to focus on getting as many points as possible. Yeah, I can't see anywhere else. Is the only way is up from here. So I don't see myself falling further behind, at least now. Yeah, it was just unfortunate that I had a contact with Steve, but yeah, there were so many people back to back. So it would have been a massive pileup if I would have lifted off, and it was quite unexpected where the lift off happened actually at the start of the race, honestly.
Well, there are always a few surprises when you have a race, Oshan, but a race victory, nevertheless, something you can be incredibly proud of achieving here in terms of this sort of run. We are going to see if we can get a couple more drivers in for very quick conversation, one of whom is Rishabh Banerjee, who we had an opportunity to see have a very, very strong run. He finished in fourth position. Rishabh, do you have a copy of us, buddy? Very, very quiet at the moment on the microphone. So we'll see if we can just boost him up and get him a little bit louder. But Rishabh, that goes down as a race for you where you took advantage of maybe a couple drivers running into troubles early on, Ara Ravindra being one of them, Steve Smuts another. And really, you spent the majority of that race in third and fourth position, just consolidating place.
Steve caught up and then he overtook me, so I just had to hold off Aditya Pawar, and then I ended up fourth.
There was a lot of action happening with you every time we were involved with a fight between Aro, Aditya, then earlier on with Rishabh Banerjee. So this is really all about handling those ST corners very well.
Yeah. It's just I made many mistakes, so people were catching up to me. But then it's very hard for the person behind to overtake you. So that was my advantage, and yeah, I maintained my position.
Well, you've got a lot of positives to take out of this race. You've been here, there, and everywhere over the course of the season so far, but it seems like Vallelunga is a track that suits you, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time practicing, so it's yeah, I've got a good hang of it. Yeah, and it's the better of the tracks, obviously.
Well, Richard Banshee there with a 4th place finish, which he'll be very, very happy with. One final driver we'll be able to chat to very quickly is Aditya Pawar, who finished off in 5th place in that event. Aditya, do you have a copy of us, buddy?
Yeah, I do copy all. Do you all copy me?
Yep, we've got you loud and clear. But let's talk about that race for you, because it looked like, especially in the early stages, that some of the big names dropped back. They had themselves a few troubles. You had to make your way through. There are a few drivers up and down the order who were trying to be aggressive early, but really it was a case where it just settled out for you. It was Steve, and it was Rishabh.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a tricky start. I just decided to take it easy, basically, because I saw cars, running really close. There at a point of time, I saw people going 3 wide, and I just backed off, man. I mean, for me, the sensible thing was to just wait out for these fast guys to finish their tipi-taka, and then probably set in between somewhere.
So, Aditya, when you were on the track, when you were racing, you were possibly playing a lot of patient games. So that kind of helped you a little bit.
Yeah, actually, as in, I was waiting for Steve and Rishabh to probably, have a little bit of a fight to my advantage, so that I would have, probably saved some curves or push to pass, and probably used it to my advantage. But at the end, I made a mistake which dropped me back a couple of seconds to Rishabh. Any which way, that was my own fault. So I think I let go of the 4th position. If I have a look at it that way.
Well, either way, a top 5 is still some very, very big points, and a very, very tight battle for 5th place in the championship. Everybody is pretty much on edge with that, hoping that they can get as many points as they possibly can. What do you think the key is to picking up that 5th place overall? Because it seems like every time we go into a race, it's someone else who seems to have the form flag for that.
Well, now as we see, we know that the championship battle is going to the top 4. So the 5th place is sort of become what you call the best of the rest. So it's all about consistency now, and probably to keep your mind cool, and yeah, you could end up best of the rest. Yeah.
Well, Aditya Pawar there with a top 5 finish, and we'll be certainly hoping for top 5s in the not too distant future. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are not done with sim racing action here today. We're going to step aside for about 20 minutes or so, and when we come back, there'll be more action on the horizon as we get ourselves ready for round 9. Starts right about now, and it's a good start there off the front from Suarez Yadav, and it's going to be all about the charge down towards that.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
There's an old saying in motorsport, if you want to make a million, start with $1 billion.
you got to work your way up. You got to have talent. Ultimately, you have to be born with an ability to drive the car fast. I think you have to be practical, pragmatic. You have to be able to bounce back from a lot of setbacks, because you'll have 9 bad days for every one day, but the joy you feel on that one day makes up for the other 9.
It's probably one of the toughest sports mentally, physically, and many people crack, many people move aside and fade away. But if you want to sustain, then you have to really fight it.
You have to be fearless. You are always fighting against, and you don't think about what could happen when things go really wrong.
If you don't have that little bit of craziness in you, it's not going to really work out long term.
My mind, I always use the aggressive approach. If you don't want to move forward, you always end up going backwards.
For me, it's always a great experience, motorsports, because you smell the tires, you smell the oil, you smell the excitement of the drivers, and it's just car pure.
You know, it also goes as a big sacrifice in terms of your career, because you're into something which is not conventional, and it's not going to give you too much of returns monetary, at least not in the short term. You know, where your friends are, doing masters, living in the US, making a lot of money. You're here doing your thing that you love, which is not really giving you back in monetary terms, but you definitely go back home and sleep good because you're doing what you love at the end of the day.
The driver needs to extract every last fraction of a second, otherwise they're not going to win.
Power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Racing, competing, is in my blood. It's part of me, it's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. It stands up before anything else.
So we've been here for 10 years now, and we've been kind of creating a journey. We've been very much focusing on young drivers in order to create also a wider scale in this country.
The idea of Volkswagen as a brand is to support and grow motorsport.
They will not be able to hear anything.
It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
right, 3. 30. 7 left. 20. 8 right over crest into care, 5 right. 8 right over crest into care, 5 right. 20 down. Right, don't go wide. 50. Slow 7 right, then 6 right, 30. 7 right, up exit narrows, 40. 5 left, then 5 right bites, 40. 1 left plus. 1 left plus. Room outside. Narrow of a jump. 130. Pick right. Up before. 6 right up. 60.
About to start. There are 6 red lights. This is Assetto Corsa at its very finest here. Vallelunga is the home track of the developers. Let's get ourselves ready. Let's get ourselves racing then. The 30 minutes worth of action. It's a good start off the front there by one Mr. Ravindra. But look at Cavadia. He's immediately alongside Smuts and Kuti trying to find a way through as they dive through turn number 2 and look for the next chance to try and go out there and attack and get exactly what's there. Smuts is up into 3rd. Ravindra is there still in the lead, but look at Smuts on the brakes. They've got to be careful here. It's bank 3. He can take it a little bit quicker than you need to. It is Cavadia who's lost out the most. He's down into 4th position right now, and Smuts immediately attacking here. Another long straight coming up towards turn 7 and the Campagnano.
Turn 7 was very this one. Steve Smart on the offensive as Roshan Kataria tries to defend right now. He's starting at number 2 now to drop down to number 4. But looking at the way Aro Ravindra so far, he's kept it very tight again. Steve Smart trying to take on the position for the number 7 versus Amit Kuti. Amit Kuti somehow holds him back for a little bit again. Now he's defended well. Now he's going to come at him one more time.
Wide at turn 7, and now they head into this really technical section. There is Tula. Oh, he's trying to attack Kabadia here and really show that he's up for a race. Oh, there's contact there, right down there at the hairpin, at the Tornatino, and it's two drivers in a world of trouble. Munjal Sabla, I think, has just about escaped through, but up on 2 wheels they went. That was a heavy bit of contact for a slow corner.
Race leader Aro Ravindra on your screen at the moment, and he's almost got about 5 cars length over Amit Kuti and Steve Smart.
It's crucially they have the draft. They are within a range and they can now attack. And look at that for an up and under. Outbroke himself, did Raj Tula. Rishad Banerjee says thank you very much. Run to turn 4, the first of the Shimini corners, and then the run to 7 of the Campagnano. And a look to the inside. He left the move very late there on Ravindra. There's contact between them. Ravindra's forced out then into the long runoff area. He'll come back in 3rd position, but of course the stewards will maybe have a look at that. And Kuti immediately redressing the position then through turn number 6. He didn't like that one. Steve Smarts gets a freebie to the race lead.
Fastest lap 1 minute 39.72. Oh, it's a good battle that we're seeing between the blue cars again. Navneet Kumar tries to line up Raj Tula. One little shake of the wrist there as he tries to line him up. Does he get a little slipstream there as they come down to the right-hander? Very quickly, will he be able to dive inside? Yes, he does. And has he done it well? Has he got the lead ahead of him? Yes, he has. Well done, Navneet Kumar.
Was absolutely caught out. He'll dive down the inside. Contact between them as they hit the Campagnano, and just like that, Tula's going to have to let him have that back again. And diving down the inside, that is Munjal Sabla trying to get on through. Very much, just about, they are managing to get through that. The top 2. These 3 go here into the first of the Shimini corners here. Shimini 1 followed very swiftly by Shimini 2. Wide goes Suarez Yadav in the background. He'll drop off the back of this little battle as they go forward. But really here, these positions, this is a big fight that they're on right now here, Solomon. They're fighting for that final remaining place for the reverse.
You know, I always believe that when Swaraj Yadav almost had Siddharth for that little overtaking maneuver there, one mistake goes wide and he's already dropping back 3 car lengths. That little mistake, that little tweaks that you're able to do on that steering there, make sure that how much the difference is between the intent to overtake and the intent to get that corner right.
Final corner out on track, lunge down the inside of the final corner, but not close enough to make that happen just yet. You've got a big long run to turn 4 coming off of this front stretch, so you've got to...
So he is turning out to be uncatchable at the moment. Aro Ravindra will drop down at number 3. So Amit Kuti moves up to number 2. So then the championship leader is in number 2. Can he go on to take on the fight on Steve Smart? He possibly can.
Well, the gap has really opened up, and all of that came from a mistake at turn 3. Ravindra pushing a little bit too far wide. He'll still fight back here on the outside of the Campagnano. He dives incredibly deep. In fact, he's gone too deep into the corner, and that's going to allow Amit Kuti the chance to just scamper away. Absolutely, Jamie Shaw is in 17th position. Looks like there's a bit of contact there as they went on through. Shaw up into 16th then and managing just enough. But look at this, 4 vehicles all in the same space of real estate here. Shaw now back down into 17th position. All of them here, Solomon, are fighting out really, really hard for these places and trying to make something of it happen here as Rohit Rout there in 18th place tries to keep in the same space to try and go out there and attack. And it's tough because every single corner is a case for 2 wide battling as Shaw wants into 16.
And when you have a 4-way race to every corner, it's an opportunity for all 4 of them. You got to make a fight of the positions wherever you are in the race. Now, as we see Jamie Shaw coming so close, one of them goes off the track for a moment. He's going to lose not 1 but 2 positions again. That little get greedy there. Now Jamie Shaw is going to look back and now has to make sure he tries and get Abhimanyu S. Menon moves up to position number 18. There's a little bit jostling.
Just that bit of contact there allows Abimanu to move up forward. We also need to have a little look at Aditya Pawar. Thadia really getting a good drive then through 2 and 3, and Ravindra trying to look for the inside. There's just no room for Kathadia to go. He'll try and sneak one up the inside here and pick one off on our Ravindra here through turn 5, the second of the Shamini corners, and he's going to get it here through turn 6. He moves up into 3rd, and now he can use the draft to attack here Amit Kuti for 2nd if he so wants.
Well, Amit Kuti is now was looking for Aro Ravindra. He gets Oshan Kotaria trying to take on him for the fight for the 2nd. Oshan Kotaria goes wide again. Now will Aro Ravindra come in? Okay, contact.
Not like that. Kathadia trying to shut the door as much as he possibly can. He gets turned for his troubles and trying to rejoin the circuit. I think he's only got himself to blame for that one. He drops now back into 5th position, which allows Rishabh Banerjee to move up, I believe, now into 4th place. The power down here on the exit, and look at this, hard to the pit wall. Oh no! Both into the pit wall, bang! Up and over goes one driver there in all sorts of trouble. Garvit Loader will scamper on into 12th place, but that was always going to end in tears. They were fighting so close to the pit wall. It was like 2010 Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, except it ended in tears and disaster. Race leader Steve Smuts, who heads himself into the final sector right now, going through turn number 11 out on track. This here is the Semaforo heading into the Tornatino here, turn number 12. This really devilishly tight hairpin down to 1st gear and trying to get all of the turn in on the steering wheel before these next lefts and rights, the S's 13 and 14, come into play, and that final corner comes up. He's going to run out of time for one more lap, but he won't mind that at all. He will cash the check that he writes, because he knows once again he walked away when Kuti and Ravindra decided they wanted to play pinball. He will find himself the jackpot. Steve Smuts wins the first race, and the first race today at Vallelunga.
Well done, Steve Smuts, as Amit Kuti comes in at number 2, with Aro Ravindra chasing him down at number 3. It has been a mixed bag for Oshan Kotaria, as he lost out multiple positions only to consolidate number 4. Rishabh Banerjee brings on the car at number 5.
It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road, and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
One more race. One more opportunity to score some points, and some big points on top of that as well. They are about 8 minutes away from figuring out how to make the tyres last over 40 very, very tough minutes of action once again here at Vallelunga. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Solomon Paras, and this is your Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship. This is a very, very tough battleground where we'll be seeing these drivers try and get themselves in. And if race 1 was anything to go by tonight, or today, wherever you may be watching, this has been a very, very interesting battle, and we have seen maybe a few surprises along the way here, Solomon. Well, it looks like, at least for this moment in time, that we don't have Solomon here with me at this stage, so we'll figure something out along the road as we find ourselves about 8 minutes away from the start of this race. What's crucial about this race is that it's from the first race that we had yesterday, of course, round 7 of the championship. That's where we're getting our reverse grid from. So there was a lot to play for yesterday in terms of racing, and now these drivers will be hoping that they can convert maybe a little bit of driving into some points, and some very important points on top of that as well. So hopefully with those points that are available and are starting to be found, we are going to be looking at this being a race where maybe, just maybe, we might be in a situation where some drivers are going to be able to hold on compared to others. It looked like, especially in the opening race that we saw today, that maybe there is going to be a very, very strong battle on the horizon for certain drivers, but there's a fight for that top 4 in the championship, and then 5th on down looks like it's incredibly close as well. A lot to try and work out and understand here at this moment in time, and I'm pretty sure that everybody who is out there and racing and hoping that they're going to get the best possible opportunities, be hoping that they can find a way through the pack pretty swiftly here today with the 12-car inverse that is in this Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship. Solomon, this is now about trying to make sure that you stay calm under pressure, you find the opportunities that are presented to you, and more importantly than that, you find yourself a very, very strong chance of moving through the field and gaining big points when other drivers might be stuck behind other drivers.
I think this is one of those moments where, what a time it has been on a weekend where you're going to see back-to-back races. We will find races much, much stronger, having put in the learnings in the previous one to come out very, very strong again. That's one, but more importantly, we have Steve Smart starting at number 12. So he is this fight-back man who's always made a charge from somewhere in the middle of the pack to all the way up to top 5 and top 4A, and even the race win. It's going to be pretty interesting there.
So we are going to be seeing how these races all come into play. I'm sure that the drivers will be eagerly anticipating a chance to move on forward and gain those places that are available to them. But let's talk about some of these drivers who will be hoping to try and make those places. Starting in 12th position will be Steve Smart, and he'll be hoping that he gets himself maybe a better run than he did a little bit earlier on in today's racing, so that maybe he can come away with points and still have a hold on 3rd place in the championship.
It's one of those moments where somebody like Karu Ravindra, who decided that things were not going, he limited his damage. Rishabh Banerjee did well. Ushan, what a performance the last round. So close, race to race, bumper to bumper, car to car, nose to engine kind of an action. We can definitely expect more. Start is going to be very critical because you have the championship leader way in 9th to 12th position there.
Absolutely we do, and those drivers will all be looking to try and move on forward. Now, someone who definitely needs to have a good race here at this moment in time will be Aro Ravindra, someone who definitely did not have a good race last time out. He had to play the huge recovery drive. He fell outside of the top 15 on the opening lap trying to get through the field, and now all of a sudden he found himself with only a 6th place finish. He needs more than that here today if he wants to try and bring back some of that gap to Amit Kuti. He's already dropped 30 points. Yes, there's 2 drop rounds, but you don't want to be using them up now. You can use them later.
Jake, you got it spot on when you talked about handling this track, because this track is really slippery when you just go off the track limit, when you don't glide over the curbs and be a little bit more aggressive. You'll really have to pay the price, and a lot of them did pay the price and dropping down positions again. Now, earlier in the start, Steve Muth complained there was a contact. Now all of them would like to look at a clean start. Just let the race come to you and then hope for a straight where you can actually make some overtaking maneuvers.
Well, one of the keys here in terms of seeing these drivers out there and trying to race is that we are in a snowscape here at the Via Lunga circuit just outside of Rome, Italy. This is a really, really technical track in the final couple of sectors, and those opening sectors are very aggressive in terms of top speed. So it's a case of half and half. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Solomon. It's a case of you get a little bit of everything.
Like the I really like the fast right-hander on turn number 4. I also like the turn number 7 to 12. Of course, the drivers may not like it as much, but then that's where you and I get to see the cars so close. And this is one of those tracks where a spectator comes in. He's able to see the good part of the track. So it's a very spectator-friendly track in terms of the eagle eye view of the track.
Certainly is. You get those corners like the Semaphore and the Tornatino, which are corners back-to-back hairpins, which I'm sure drivers will be looking to try and attack and try and get themselves through and make sure that they have a run which they can be proud of, they can be comfortable of. But let's talk something that we haven't really talked about over the course of these sorts of sessions, Solomon, and that is going to be about strategy here today, because we've been seeing how those left-hand side tyres deal with a lot of load through corners like Curva Grande, the two Shiminis, the Campagnano they have to deal with, the Semaforo they have to deal with, and of course Roma, the final corner as well. This is a high-load circuit, so those left-hand side tyres are getting worn a lot. Are we going to see drivers maybe taking dives to the pit and making strategy calls today?
I think Oshan Kothari was already guessing that if there's a pit stop strategy, I would take it. But talking about those folks who decided to attack late, kind of had the advantage, right? Because the tire wear was their advantage. Amit Kuti didn't have tires left, and he could just defend, although he did a fab job of trying to place the car on certain corners where Oshan Kotharia didn't want to see. But then Oshan still had the last lap. So I would rather keep my tires till the end and then hope to make some overtaking maneuvers, because there will be chances that'll come to you.
And those chances will be happening in just about a minute's time here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 40-minute race. They can stop if they want to, but there is no guarantees that they will need to stop here today. Definitely not for fuel or anything like that. So this is going to be about work, and it's going to be about hard work on top of that. Who can make their way through the field? Who can battle themselves up to the very, very top end and find themselves with a maximum of 50 points, taking themselves away from Via Lunga here today. There are 2 more tracks on the calendar that they will be heading to work out who will be that virtual Volkswagen Motorsport champion. And what is crucial about that is that the winner of this championship gets a full paid season in the Volkswagen Motorsports Championships that they have in India. So a big, big opportunity on the horizon if you can find yourself at the top end of the championship. But with 20 seconds to go, final preparations will be gone. Have you got the tyres working in operating temperature? Am I comfortable with the way that I'm going to attack here? Here we go then. It's going to be ourselves with 6 red lights as we get ourselves ready, and the run in towards the opening couple of corners will start. Welcome to round 9 of the championship of VW VRC. It starts right now as they get themselves going off. It's a pretty good start then from the dirty side of the track. They all know it's up. There is Garvin Loder getting a good one. Off the front on pole position. Everyone will be now charging through, trying to find those places. Navneet Kumar already dropping down now into 6th position. Claudia immediately through the challenge as well. Now Loder under pressure. Here we go on the brakes into turn 4 for the very first time, and that is straight down the inside. It's a big one up. That is wonderfully done. Garvin Loder drops down into 2nd. Then Will Sadler already up into 5th place at this stage. So we can charge on through to this next section of the road, and everybody trying to get themselves away on through.
Munjal Sabla moves into position number 5, but I was pretty surprised with Aurora across the board. Jumping over 2 positions on that couple of cars just going off the track between turn number 4 and turn number 5. But then it is going to be a charge up for them. But where is Steve Smart going to track them on a little bit just to tell you? Steve Smart moves up to position number 8 as Navneet Kumar drops down to position number 9. Brayton Sunderwell number 2 now.
Yes, but they're 3 wide into the corner, and that's going to be ideal. They can just about manage to hold it together, it seems, at this moment in time, trying to work out a way to go through. But Sam Ravel on the outside. Oh no! Everyone's going to be circulating over each other at this stage. Sam Ravel's just got away with it, and it's Oshan Kothadia who's gone around on someone else in the background as well. Run into troubles there in 13th position. So not ideal. It's Steve Smuts as well who's running into those troubles. So both of them in a world of hurt then. They will have to do the hard yards again. He's up to 3rd on the opening run, almost it seems. So how is the game now?
number 12, the place where he started on the reverse grid. Now we look back and say possibly he needs to do that hard work again. Concern is he got damaged as Christian Kataria has damage. I believe they do so.
Well, if they have damage, they could be in a world of trouble. They're 11th and 12th position at the moment. They'll have to do that work all over again. Kuti in third, Ravindra in fourth. Raj Tula leads this race, but here is battle a little bit further behind. Swaraj Das looking at this one in front. Rishabh Banerjee and Jamie Shaw, and they're all going off in front. In fact, absolutely everybody running that wide line. Tesh Patel losing out. Shaw sends all to the outside. Contact as well as Kapadia goes to Rishabh Banerjee. Pretty much getting shuffled and freight train there, trying to deal with everything out there on circuit. Steve Smuts now trying to work his way through. This is about just trying to find some elbow room to actually go out and drive the car, let alone trying to find places. There's not much coordination here, so trying to go through. Kapadia with a lunge down at the inside there at turn 11 and just about managing to jump now to ninth place. That's aggressive driving.
When you try to defend the body, stretching out the angles where they're trying to defend. Steve Smart is dropped down to
No, he's not. That was the reason why we saw that incident there. Garvin Loder's lost the place now to Amikuti potentially now into second position. There goes Russ flat, 140 flat there as he gets himself over the line, and they can see that's Ara Ravindra down the inside of Garvin Loder as well, up now into third position. Loder running a little bit wide. Crucially, Ravindra is staying pretty much nose to nose with Amikuti in this one. Raj Tula will be maybe a different story. Work will have to be done to chase that one down in terms of the battles that we see on screen. But ultimately, everyone, this is about now just trying to settle down, find a rhythm, and crucially, drive in a certain style right now, Sockle, where those tyres are going to be the ones which are probably going to be saved the most in this sort of race. Garvin Loder down to fourth place, and now we'll be looking behind at the train of cars which are trying to swarm their way through. Kapadia in ninth, looking at Jamie Shaw in front in eighth place.
train of cars, but he's not one but finally crossing the positions. Looking at Navneet Kumar now trying to consolidate at number 6. Now, each of these cars, there we are on those screens. Now, the Roshan Kataria now coming in quite a lot of the fight between him and Swaraj. Yadav and Rishabh Banerjee is right behind them with just about 2 car lengths. Oshan Kodaria trying to make up for two positions earlier again. Again, it's going to be a lot of homework. It's a fight back that we always talk about.
Up and under, he's trying to get this one down at the S's, and Jamie Shaw's got nothing for it. So Kapadia holds on for the moment, but around the outside of the second half, Jamie Shaw's giving everything here. Kapadia's got to work for it. It's crossed the beams, but Shaw managed to get back ahead with that run, and Kapadia's trying to get the biggest run possible here in towards this opening next section. Amit Kuti, another fastest lap then of the race, with that one all working out quite nicely. But here again comes Kapadia. He's got the inside now for turn 2 here at the Curva Grande, and this is a comfortable move down the inside. How do you like it? Just like that, easily done, and up into 8th place then, into the first of the 2 Shiminis.
Well, I would have, Jamie Shaw may not like that overtaking maneuver, but that was so beautifully done. He just managed to keep that pressure there. Now, Oshan Kodaria has driven the race of his life in the previous one. Can he just take that form into this one? So far, what I look around and what I see, what he's able to bring onto the track at the moment, I really like that. Now, and he just take that form a little further.
Right, Route 14th place, fan favourite, trying to find himself maybe an opportunity to jump forward and gain a couple places. A little bit of contact there, and that's not ideal, and they're trying to work it out. This is right in front of Steve Smuts, who's dropped now all the way back to 18th position here at this moment in time. We saw him on screen just a little while ago, but now Rocket Route back in 15th here. It's known that Raghav is through into the 14th position, and these 5 are really starting to get a little bit dicey here, hoping that they're fighting for maybe just a couple of championship points at this moment.
It's somebody's rolled in the dice, and everyone, there's going to be changing of positions, contact. This race has everything: suspense, drama, wheel-to-wheel, bumper-to-bumper action, nose-to-engine. It's got everything. We've had cars slipping on to the tight corners again, 3 cars trying to enter a corner. So this race has got all the elements of what a good race is. Here we go again, one more time. Roy trying to make sure he gets a very, very strong, aggressive line. And somebody tries to take it on the outside. He's taking a wider line. Is he be able to hold it off again? He's actually has no space to even make that maneuver of an overtaking maneuver.
He's just lost the position in his right route down into 16th as they funnel their way through Curva Grande once again and down the hill towards Shimini 1, the lowest point on the circuit, as you can see behind everyone diving through. Routes overcooked that one by a country mile. He's gone so far off, he's in the snow at turn 4, and you thought with that much runoff area he wouldn't need to be going too far. He completely bailed out of it. Then Lalic back wants to find places. He's trying to go through there 3 wide here as they try and make this run here into the Campagnano, and not going to find much. Back on the outside, or he's going to be tough to hold it around there, but won't be able to. Stays in 16th position. There has been a change at the front of the field though. Amit Kuti is through on Raj Tula and has taken the race lead away. We haven't seen it on camera. Jabak gets a bump from behind, and that is the position pretty much going to be redressed back there. So Raj Tula's lost the place. Now Ara Ravindra's turn to try and find a way through.
Wow, this race has really come alive right from the word go, as Tej Patel now tries to consolidate versus Oshan Kotadia. Now, Tej Patel will hold him back for a bit as Aro Ravindra takes the battle for the fight for the second and third between him and Raj Tula. Aro Ravindra somehow moves into position number 2 only for a bit, and for Raj Tula just decides to get past him without any problem. He lost a little traction again. We were talking about the left graining on tires. It's already seeing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So now these drivers are starting to think about tyre preservation. Ara Ravindra is there in what is the 3rd position at the moment. Couldn't get through immediately on Raj Tula, but he's got to be aggressive and find a way through quickly. Otherwise, Kuti is just going to run away in the early stages. Side by side behind, that's Munjal Savla and Navneet Kumar, and that is Navneet finding a way through then up into 5th position. And look at this, Tej Patel, Oshan Kapadia, now they're 2 wide, 2 deep. Work it out between yourselves, guys, because this is not going to be ideal. Thaddeus gone down the inside of pretty much all of them, and has he been able to hold it? Yes, he has, but there off the road is Navneet Kumar. He's put to the back, and I wonder if there was contact.
Oshan Kotadia up to number 5, but then this man is on fire. Can he really make this one of those race count right from the back? So the way it looks like, he's possibly playing way too aggressive, and I just hope tire graining, which he was talking to us about earlier, doesn't come back to bite him later.
I wonder if he's driving this aggressively to try and pit and then drive aggressively again. There's Tej Patel on the brakes. He's in 8th place now because Navneet has found a way through. He's done well. The driver in 6th place is Munjal Savla. We've seen him have a little bit of a very tentative start to this race. We had a chance to chat with him. Here's what he had to say.
I'm Munjal Savla, firstly, and I'm 32 years old. So I have been racing for quite some time, since probably I was in high school. Started off with karting, and then joined engineering. Kind of dropped off from the racing scene, and then came back into the first Volkswagen Polo Cup in 2010. Did 3 years of racing at the national level. Had a good time. Being a rookie, had a steep learning curve, but eventually ended up with a few race wins and made some lovely friends, and overall was a great learning experience. Since then, I haven't really raced. At a professional level, I'm an engineer and now a management consultant. I'm into renewable energy and work in that space.
Well, Munjal has to be careful here in 6th place. Behind him is Navneet in 7th, wanting to find a way to get through and gain another position. Tula has now lost the place to Ara Ravindra, so the championship 1st and 2nd are 1 and 2 at this moment in time. Kuti will have a 40-point lead in the championship if things stay as they are at the moment. Kapadia in 5th and Steve Smuts in 13th position. Those are those 3rd and 4th in the championship right now. Navneet can't find a way through at the very, very tricky hairpin out on track to Tornatino, so he has to play that waiting game again. This is a tough final sector to go and make moves, because you have to be so sure of yourself, Solomon, that you can make it happen.
Jake, I was just looking at the way Tej Patel was trying to take that corner. He was just sticking onto his racing line. Clearly, if you're looking at the way he's driving right now, he's conserving his tires there. But the folks ahead of him, Navneet Kumar, Munjal Savla, you would see them coming under the grips of possibly being overtaken sometime later, because the moment I get a feeling that they're way too aggressive on a corner, not trying to conserve tires here, which is going to be very critical. Steve Smuts on the run again. I hope he's able to make up positions as the race comes by.
I certainly hope so as well, as Smuts at the moment in 13th position will be wanting to try and get through and try and find himself that place or extra places. And Kafadia has made his way through on Garvit Loader up into now 4th position in this race. What a drive he's having back through the field after contact at the Tornatino. So Kafadia through on Garvit Loader, and that would have been the run to turn 7. He managed to pick that one off. And just in front of him is Raj Tula, so he's not a million miles away from those leading two, Kuti and Ravindra. He has time to gain those places. When you've got Steve Smuts down there in 12th position, who's already had to use both of his drop rounds over the course of this season, that is a lifeline for Kafadia, because he knows he's picking up big points right here, right now, as he stands.
So, as he got past Garvit Loader in position number 5, I was just looking at Oshan Kutaria, the kind of lines that he's very aggressive there. In fact, he was able to make most number of places, most number of ground, especially on the slower corners. That is between turn 9 to 11. And as he's looking at him right now, Oshan Kutaria has about 5 car lengths ahead of him to catch up to Raj Tula, and Raj Tula is already feeling the pressure.
See how aggressively Oshan is having to race, having to battle, having to make everything work out for him at this stage, as we find ourselves in a really strong position here to see Kafadia maybe make a few more places, as Navneet is through on Munjal Savla now up into 7th position, but Tej Patel has got both of them in that battle. So Patel now up into 6th place and is past both of those drivers. There may have been a bit of contact between them, not too sure. Suraj Yadav now is up into 7th because of that, so Munjal with work to do, trying to get past Yadav again, and can he find himself a chance on the inside here as they come up to the Compagnano? And the answer is no, but crucially they are still in range, and this fiddly sector might be a place where you start finding moves. Turn 8 has been a key place for dives down the inside.
Well, it's a three-way fight between the Munjal, Navneet and Aditya Pawar. Jake, you were earlier talking about this is a game where you got to really be very patient. Impatience is really not going to take it. You got to also have a time for the measured risk. Now, Munjal Savla tries to look on the inside, keeps the racing line without any problem. Swaraj Yadav and Aditya Pawar tries to chase him and stay with him. But this means Amit Koti is still in the front, and Arur Rapindra chasing him down. Raj Tula stays at number 3 at the moment.
Certainly does, but look at this, they're all starting to form up behind. You've got Aditya Pawar, Rishabh Banerjee is there, Steve Smuts in the background, 12th position. He'll want to get through all of these drivers, PD and Q at this stage, as these drivers all scrap it out. There is Rishabh. He had a really strong run of things in the racing earlier on today, 4th position, just behind that driver behind him, Steve Smuts. So I think both of those drivers want to get through, and there's a move trying to happen. Navneet through on Munjal Savla, trying, that is, through the next section of road. There is Oshan Kafadia in 3rd position, and look at the work that's being done. He is through on Raj Tula, and Tula will be looking back at Garvit Loader, who is there in what is 5th position. These are all important battles right now. They try and work out how to move forward in this race. We're going to step aside for one moment here with Volkswagen Motorsports India here in the VW VRC. We'll be back with more after this.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
Well, at the moment, Munjal Savla is trying everything he can to hold those drivers behind us. There is Rishabh Banerjee down the inside. Sorry, no, Steve Smuts down the inside. He's absolutely flying at the moment. Wait 10 seconds for an advert, and he's there now in 11th position, trying to get 10th away from Aditya Pawar, who he was fighting with in the race earlier on today. Trying around the outside, and suddenly, oh, hello, I'm Rishabh Banerjee down the inside.
Well, they've really been exchanging a lot of positions in the kind of racing that they've been having for the last couple of times now. Steve Smart back again onto number 11, but you get a feeling that Navneet Kumar and Munjal Savla holding holding a train of cars behind them now, and that's where Steve Smart is possibly looking at his tires and saying, "This is going to eat my tires. This is going to eat the life out of my tires." He's possibly got to look at a counter strategy rather than just trying to wait it out right now. He possibly understands that he needs to get past at least Navneet Kumar and Munjal Sabhan 8 and 9 respectively.
Well, there is Swaraj Yadav in 7th, under pressure. Navneet Kumar was looking every which way for the Curva Grande to be the place. He can't find that. Thinking about maybe the Shiminis. Nope, not going to get that one then on the brakes, but is hoping that maybe a driver like Swaraj Yadav does run wide, and this is going to open up opportunity here on this next straight as they battle on here to the Compagnano. Here, turn 7 out on track. Can Swaraj Yadav defend this position then against Navneet Kumar here as he moves to the inside? He's not got much to do with, but he's on the brakes, and that's just a case of Navneet trying to get in the mirror and scaring Swaraj Yadav off the road once again.
Well, he didn't get scared there, but all that he's doing right now is bunching up the field there. In fact, there's not 3, but there's about 5 to 6 cars behind him. And this means there's going to be still a very close tussle. And every time a slow corner comes in, you would find them just stretching their arms a little bit just to cover that corner there again. Munjal Sabla is getting a little impatient, and so is Steve Smart. Jamie Shaw close on at the moment behind Rishabh Banerjee. Aditya Pawar moves into position number 10, courtesy that inside move there. Steve Smart still looking to get past there.
Yeah, but couldn't manage it then on Aditya Pawar, who holds on to that 10th place. And he was thinking it was a little bit easy in that opening race of the night here tonight, where he thought that he had the chance to go make the tap, and he has to get out of it there through the corner because he was going to run into the back then of one Mr. Aditya Pawar. That allows Rishabh Banerjee the move through and gains that extra place at this stage. As things stand, it is in this one a very, very interesting battle in this race overall. Amit Kuti at the halfway stage leads with Ara Ravindra second and Oshan Kathadia in third, but it's worth noting Kathadia has used a lot of tyre to get to where he is at this moment. Raj Tula and Garvit Loda 4th and 5th, and on cue they've just changed positions. Garvit Loda is through then on Raj Tula and has picked that one up on the run out of the second Shimini corner and through towards the Campagnano turn number 7. This is an important battle here from these drivers. They have been the ones who started at the front of the field, Solomon, but crucially those drivers behind have been fighting so hard, and they're still doing so right now, that they don't really have anything to really worry about.
Well, after the race, I do know that Munjal Sabla and Aditya Pawar will be here given quite a earful because they've been holding the back for a very long time, and it can get a very, very annoying because you don't have that space. You are not able to show your skill when you're able to get a little bit of a straight there. Munjal Sabla again getting onto your screens. Well, that was close as well. He's defending. He's very, very defending very well. But then credit to him, he's actually even slowing the other car. Steve Smart is now being classified as number 20. Not sure what happened there.
Retirement. Oh, they're 3 wide almost here. Oh, there's the contact. Rishabh Banerjee trying to go down the inside. It's Navneet Kumar who pays the price, I think, for that little move then. So we'll be dropping way down the order. Sorry, no, it's Swaraj Yadav who has gone down the order there with that little bit of contact. Then with that, as he dropped way down the order, someone got a big, big hit going through that corner. It did not work out well for them as they were fighting through. 3 wide into the S is tough at the best of times. Normally you struggle to even get 2 wide, but Navneet Kumar now under pressure. This is Jamie Shaw wanting it.
So then, courtesy a little bit of a contact. Now the gap has just winded a little bit. Now this is what Aditya Pawar and Navneet Kumar were looking at now. They can break away from this pack, and if they can break away in the next 3 or 4 minutes, in the next 2 or 3 laps, they could actually realistically target at least 6 or 7 position. Rishabh Banerjee needs to make sure a good fight. You're looking at the gap that is coming up. Oshan Kotaria has over 10 seconds to catch up with Amit Kuti. We can ride this off Amit Kuti this race win, but then it's too early. We still got 18 minutes to go.
It was Munjal Sabla who got the hit. That's why he's down in 15th position right now. Kumar running wide, and that's going to allow Jamie Shaw the chance to think of the inside here at turn number 9. Up the hill, trying to get things done at the Trincea, or the Trincea. It's not going to work. But now you've got Navneet trying everything to... Oh, there's the contact. Navneet just about holding on to things at the moment as they go on the brakes into the hairpin. He holds onto place, and all of a sudden there's Raghav trying to find a way through into the top 10, and he does so with a nice push forward that gives exactly what's needed. You can see the gaps on screen right now. Kuti has moved out to about a nearly 7-second lead at this moment in time. He has done everything right.
I should say that Navneet really handled and controlled the car at the end, because the car looked like on a little swerve there, uncontrollable, but then he did well to control it and bring it back and still get on with it. Aditya Pawar will kind of now know that he's got to just pull away from Navneet Kumar, because if Navneet Kumar and Raghav and Jamie Shaw close enough, the train begins one more time.
Exactly, and it's that train which really does come into play, and you need to learn and understand how that sort of small train could be really much put into play and into place. If you get yourself in a train, you can maybe sometimes work together to close down, otherwise you'll be in a different place. Now this is Ara Ravindra here at this stage. He's having a pretty solid run of things at the moment, but we actually got a chance to speak to another driver out here today. I don't think he's here. I don't think he's having a good run. Pratik Sonawana, and this is what he had to say.
My name is Pratik Sonavne, and thank you for the interview. It's such a great feeling to be a part of the Volkswagen's Virtual Racing Championship in 2020. This is my first time I'm racing virtually. In fact, just getting into the virtual racing scene in the past, say about a month or so, when the VRC selection started. And it's been a great opportunity. It's been a great learning experience. And overall, I'm really, really glad that I'm a part of the VRC. I made it to the final 28 drivers grid, and now looking forward to the rest of the championship.
We've been keeping an eye on a lot of these battles here. It's the mid-pack where it's starting to all form up. Navneet now in 9th position, still holding off the likes of Raghav and Jamie Shaw, 10th and 11th in this field at the moment. But now you get into the critical numbers of this race, Solomon. This is where the tyres start to really hurt.
Jack, you were talking about when you were stuck in a train, what is it that you do? Now, if the train really goes on for a little bit...
Oh no, that's short. Shaw goes straight on, patches snow on the tyres, and even at the best of the times, grass on the tyres when your brakes tough. When you got snow, you got nothing.
I've just been told Steve Smut had got disconnected because of connection issues. So the VPNs are back again. He's not going to like that again. But Jamie Shaw still trying to fight it out at number 11. Be a little bit careful when you are trying to get onto the exterior of that track. Going to the limits again, you would definitely want to go a little easy on the brakes there.
Very much so, but just a little bit too careless, and fortunately managed to keep it going there. Is behind that there's Swaraj Yadav and Siddharth Satyan, 13th, 14th and 15th is Munjar Savla trying to get back into this race after that heavy contact at the S's section, which didn't really help too much. Satyan taking the big wide line, trying to get on through, but is not able to at this stage, and will definitely want to be trying to pick that up, and is going to take the banked road there on the snow. It's going to be very useful, the fact that you're going to be sliding back down onto the circuit then to get back going again, and that costed quite a bit of time for Munjar Savla, now back in 15th position still, but a little bit further away in terms of how this race is going. But what is crucial now is that you just keep an eye out on those gaps. Kuti just managing the gap at the front. Roshan Kapadia there, 15 seconds off of the pace then of Amit Kuti at the moment. Nothing more that he can do. And those top three, well, it's been a case of Kapadia's done as much as he can, but those top two, they gained places early. 3rd and 4th by the end of lap 1. And now Raj Tula under pressure here because this is Tej Patel wanting into the top 5.
Let's also watch out for Aro Ravindra because he is still conserving his tires. I hope that the strategy that he's actually put in, and he will be looking to conserve his tires and maybe look out for the last sprint or the last drag towards the last 7-8 minutes to bring it down from 3 seconds to under 1 second. So that'll be very interesting. But Tej Patel versus Raj Tula, good fight indeed.
worth noting that Amit Kuti, after the end of that first race in the interview that we had with him, he definitely was looking at the replay, seeing what he could do to maybe find improvements or maybe look at the tyres and find something else. Now here's Patel looking at the Tornatino maybe. He's not close enough yet on the inside. That's a wide line by Raj Tula, who overshots himself. He gets just enough of a run then on the exit that he doesn't need to be too concerned with that sort of move. But crucially, you look at Raj Tula now, there's Tej Patel, it's tucked up underneath, going to look for the inside maybe at the Roma corner, the final corner on circuit. Answer to that one is no, but the big wide line's taken again, which means you can sneak away down the inside of that banked final corner and maybe attack the Curva Grande. Here comes the opportunity then. Raj Tula on the outside now for turn 2. Inside now for Tej Patel, who's going to try and assert his authority, and just like that, he's through and he's up the place.
Now this is one of those instances where Raj Tula possibly had a wider turn, was able to get a faster exit and still comes behind Tej Patel. So this is what motorsports does to you. This is what sim racing does to you. You've got to wait for that space to just make sure you're able to get ahead. Used a little slipstream wonderfully well for Tej Patel. Now can he go and get behind Gartwood Loader for the fight for the 4th and the 5th? That'll be pretty interesting. He's already stretching his lead over Raj Tula at the moment.
But crucially, Garvit Loader has just skittled on down the road. There he is right now, and just missing the apex slightly there, running wide through turn number 8, and that's the gap that he's got. He's got about 6 seconds to hold on in the last about 11 and a half minutes of this race, and a little bit more added on top of that. But every position seems to matter, and with Steve Smuts out with disconnection issues, that's a free pass for Oshan Kathadia to jump up to 3rd place in the championship with that sort of result. And crucially, if there was any hope that Steve Smuts was going to come in and try and take some championship points away from those top 2, that's not happening anymore. Kathadia is now definitely going to be the one who is hoping that 3rd place in the championship is his cemented, and he can maybe chase down Kuti and Ravindra.
Now, I was just wondering when we were talking, Jake, would he come into the pit lane and basically come out again? Now, if I was Oshan, I wouldn't, because I would take the result the way it comes in, because you still got a little over 10 minutes to go, and you have Aro and Amit Kuti way ahead of you. You may not be able to challenge them, then you can finish as close as possible. Amit Kuti and Aro Ravindra will be very interesting to see what is the gap right now. Remember, initially it was between 6 to 7. Has it come down under 5? We're going to be checking that out in soon.
Certainly will, but I think Ravindra's got a lot of work to do, and he's hoping that Amit Kuti's tyres fall into a couple of troubles. It looks like from this angle, it looks around 6 seconds again for Amit Kuti. He's just keeping a margin. He built the gap early, and they can see it on screen. It's just fluctuating in the way that timing is scored here on Assetto Corsa. It does fluctuate up and down depending on where you're braking. I think it's done by meterage more rather than abject time. So for that, it's going to be a lot closer here in this section, but it will just extend out once again. Worth keeping an eye out that Oshan Kathadia isn't a million miles away here in this. He is closing down in, as here is Ladic back, fighting it out for 12th place, and he's on the brakes, and he just about holds it then for the time being. We'll step aside for the final time, final 10 minutes, coming back to you for the VW VRC after this.
Power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Well, here's the power to play for Siddharth Satyan, who is currently scrapping out with Swaraj Yadav down at the inside of the final corner. A little bit of a bump given there to Satyan there, as now the push comes in from Swaraj Yadav. He wants to find a way through, get himself back into that 13th position and maybe pick up a couple of points. He'll find about 10 of them there finishing in that sort of position. So we'll see what Yadav is going to be finding here, but he just doesn't have to run here in the open section. Remember, Yadav's been here, there and everywhere over the course of this field, and look at that, defense to offense here. Satyan thought about the inside and then suddenly gets caught up on the inside of the corner. Yadav runs into the back, and that will be a little bit of damage to the front.
Well, we've been having a very keen eye, and the stewards will also have a very keen eye. Remember the fight between The 7th all the way up to the 14th and 15th will be really been reported back and forth. A couple of cars touching each other, contact again. But you just got to limit the damage and try and see how you're going to move on. Siddharth Satyan now slowing down just a bit. Just a bit. I thought he didn't have any traction moving into that on the right-hander as well. How does he do it this time around? Munjan Savla try to closing up a little bit. Remember, the top 12 is very crucial as they take you into the points.
They do take you into the points, but they take you into good points. The points do stretch down outside the top 15. There's someone off there on the other side of the circuit then just struggling a little bit, it looked like at the moment. So that's going to be a place dropped there by someone in around 8th, 9th place, it seems, at this moment. But there is Suarez Yadav in 15th position now. He's dropped the place and now he's got more work to be done to try and get himself back through. And I think that damage is quite heavy, the way that he's not being able to close down to the likes of those in front. So we'll keep that an eye on. There's Aditya Pawar in 7th position, and that battle starting to stretch itself back to 8th and 9th position. So Navneet Kumar's going to be on the back of this one in 9th place. But there is Raj Tula, who's probably the one who had the off and is now down into the 8th place.
Hammer time it is. Let's rewind the previous race we had earlier in the evening. We had a photo finish where Oshan Kothari really surprised Amit Puri. Are we going to see something like that? May or may not be, but we're going to see a very close in action for the fight for the 5th all the way up to the 8th position. Navneet Kumar taking the battle for the fight, 9th position now. As we're looking at how is the gap between Arul Ravindra, it is close but not close enough. He moves out to number 8, moving on inside. Very good move indeed. Can he take on the fight for the 7th?
Well, that's what we're going to have to be looking out for. Navneet Kumar gets through, gains the place and moves to the 8th position, but did so on the mistake of Raj Tula, who I think is struggling quite a bit now on those tyres and will be running on rims, so to speak, trying to get himself over to the line and just finish off this race. But this has really been one of those races where the top drivers broke away early. We haven't seen much of them ever since that point, but one driver we did have a chance to maybe have a very quick chat with is currently involved in a 3-car scrap with Siddharth Satyan and Munjal Savla. It's Swaraj Yadav, and this is what he had to say.
Hi, I'm Swaraj Yadav from Navi Mumbai, and I had always had interest in cars mainly, and for the first time I saw a race was, I think, 2016 British Grand Prix. Like, I was surfing through channels. I think I was watching a cricket match, and then I was surfing through channels because of the ad. So I just watched some cars, F1 cars. I really didn't know anything about F1 in 2016. So I just watched it, and it was a damp race. So everyone was sliding around. I think Fernando Alonso went off in the first corner and almost hit the barrier, and it was like quite exciting. And then the next race I watched was Brazil 2016, so which was a very, very exciting race. So I got hooked up.
This is where battles get dicey. They're all fighting for 12th position here in this race, and some strong points on the board as well. Swaraj Yadav thinking about Lalit Shabak and Munjal Savla here. We're all trying to find some important points. Lalit Shabak especially, who has been struggling in this championship so far, for a consistent point haul, and this could be the chance that he gets to really showcase what he's got. But Yadav's going to go straight on, runs into the side there at Munjal Savla. He locked the rears up, the back stepped away. There's not much you can do about that one. It all ends in tears.
And somebody like Siddharth just takes away that position as well. Now, Swaraj Yadav was way too late on that brakes again. Now, everybody possibly trying to learn a lesson out of Oshan Kothari, who's been almost doing very well on late braking there. Lalit now consolidating on 13. Oshan Kothari, that's the man that we were talking about, who really made on the offensive. There is a gap, but I'm not too sure if it really go up to the checkered flag on a photo finish.
Well, there is a gap, but it's a big gap there for Oshan Kothari, and he knows that it's going to be hard work if he gets up to that driver just in front in second position there of Arul Ravindra, whose tyres are starting to just let go a little bit here. That gap around 2 seconds that they have to deal with at this stage. So 2 seconds in about 4 minutes, that's going to be a tall order, no matter who you are, where you come from. There's Raj Tula, who's now all the way back in 10th place. He's lost out to Navneet. That was Raghav Budaraja running wide, trying to find a way through. Wasn't able to find it, so Tula back to 9th. but now Raghav with a renewed confidence here on this attack here to the fantastic Campagnano corner here at turn number 7. On the brakes you go, but Raj Tula trying to just keep it on the island here. Does well for the moment, but again, just has no grip to turn in.
I'm just wondering, I mean, that was not the racing line. You should have kept it very, very close to the curbs there again. Because Raghav Budraj said, thank you very, very much. You go wide, I take the inside line. Now, credit to the readers here again. Amit Kuti did see Arun Ravindra coming in. He never let off. And as we see Raj Tula and versus Raghav still fighting it out for the 9th and 10th, Raj Tula stays at number 10 for a very brief moment. And he's going to see Raghav run away into the distance.
Certainly is. It's almost like Raj Tula here. He's just trying to take his natural braking line if he has a nice set of tyres, and because there's no grip, the vehicle's just got no stopping distance to it. That's what it looks like from my eyes at this stage as this all continues. Jamie Shaw in the background might just be able to sneak a top 10 in the final couple of minutes then of this race. Through the final corner, they come along with Roma, and 2 laps they have. Figure all of this out. There is Munjal Savla in 12th place, and will be trying to get a good run forwards, try and really attack in the final stages, but he's a ways away as Lalit are back here, holding off for 13th. Here comes Siddharth Satyan.
As we go and come around, I was just thinking about Siddharth Satyan trying to be a little aggressive, goes on the inside, goes on the outside. I thought that was too many a move for one corner. Yes, this is the person we could possibly take the inside line again. Siddharth Satyan has the inside line again. The move doesn't pay off.
No, doesn't work, but he's got time on the horizon. Now, how is that battle second and third looking? We know that Kathadia needs to try and close down at this stage, but Satyan here in 14th is doing okay. Look at the gap, it's a lot closer than it was. So with 1 lap to go, Kathadia is probably only going to get one opportunity to try and get through on Ara Ravindra for second place, but this is now going to be a tall order. He's brought the gap down by a second. You can see 2 puffs of smoke. They're 2 separate locks of the front right tyre there for Ara Ravindra as he starts the final lap, being led by Amit Kuti, the championship leader, who's looking like he's going to be able to extend his gap by 40 points, maybe to 44, if he can get Oshan Kathadia through into second place. That gap is looking a little bit large at the moment, but it's this middle sector to final sector where we start seeing things fall away from Ravindra, who doesn't have tyres compared to Kathadia. Here's the charge now as they go up the hill, but again, it looks a little bit too far at this stage for Kathadia to really close down that gap and really showcase what he's got as they enter the final 40 seconds of this race. They head towards turn 7 now, and look at that again, locking hard on the inside there. Goes one Mr. Ara Ravindra. He's trying to get the last bit of life out of the tyres. They know they've got no more laps remaining here in this race. They know it's all about survival of the fittest here. And look at how much Oshan Kathadia is able to close under braking there at turn 8 and into this final sector. He is going to be right on the back of Ara Ravindra, trying to find a way through as he has been saving those tyres so well. We look at Amit Kuti coming through this very, very difficult hairpin section. There's the battle behind. Kathadia looking every which way. Which way are you going to go? Outside line, it's going to have to be looking at this stage to try and pick this up. Get a run for the outside. He tries it again. He did it last time, but here is Amit Kuti rounding the final corner, and this will be a very sweet victory because he knows he has almost a race advantage now as he comes to the line and takes round 9 here at Vayalunga. Ara Ravindra will do just enough to hold on. I'm sure it'll be a drag race to the line. Both will be on the curves as much as possible, and look at this, they go. How close to the line? Kathadia, oh, it was close. I'm not sure who had that.
Arun Ravindra just possibly got ahead with the skin of his teeth there. That was close, but really, really close. Oshan Kathadia really took it to the wire there. Garvit Lora brings the car home at number 4. Tej Patel should bring it at number 5, and he does.
Yeah, he does. Great ride from Tej Patel to finish in 5th place. Rishab, a great drive into 6th as well. And we're starting to see these drivers try and make progress. Munjal Savla, he's going to take the top 10, it seems, come the end of that one. Navni getting close, but not close enough. But those drivers up and down the order, they really gave a race.
Well, they really brought the race alive with the Raghav, Munjal, Jamie Shaw earlier on as well. Raj Tula gave in a little bit as well. Of course, he went out for a very brief moment. Swaraj Yadav was in thick of suspense and all the action, and He's done well for himself, but then he will look back and say possibly he needs to be a little conserve his gripping, especially on the tighter corners.
Absolutely, and we get ourselves a little bit of a look in how things are confirmed. Then it seems like Amit Kuti does take up the win, then puts another 6 points on the board against Ara Ravindra, who finishes in second. Oshan Katadia is third. He tried everything, but I don't think he just got there. Garvit Loda fourth, and Tej Patel in fifth. Rishabh Banji will get sixth with Aditya Pawar seventh, and Navneet Kumar in eighth. Then it's Raghav in ninth, Munjar Savla in 10th, and then Jamie Shaw just on the outside looking in. Raj Tula, Siddharth Satyan, Lalit Shabak, and Swaraj Yadav make up the top 15 here in this battle that we have going on. What we are going to be able to do for you is get yourself some very quick post-race interviews. After that, we'll pick up the driver who finished in second position. First and foremost, it's Arrow Ravindra. Arrow, that was a little bit too close for comfort at the end. Did the tyres just let go?
Yeah, that was way too close for comfort. I mean, I don't know what it is, my setup or my driving, but I'm eating up tires like way too quickly. I'm just glad I finished second.
You were trying to limit the damage, and you did, Aro. So I know we've been talking about it. You're not a big fan of the reverse grid, but then you came along very well at the start.
Yeah, I mean, still, I would have preferred, first place would have been better, but the way this weekend is going, I'm glad with second, and yeah, I just want to move on from this weekend.
Well, I'm not surprised knowing the fact that you're now, without drop rounds included, about 40 points back here. Vialunga has not been quite nice to you at the moment. So how do you bounce back and respond from a round like this where you come into it maybe only 20 points back and you've seen that lead double over the course of the 3 races that we've had?
It's going to be difficult for sure, but one thing I've learned in racing is to never give up. Anything can happen. So even in the remaining races, I'm going to give it my all and hope for the best.
Well, the floor is yours here. Arrow, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank VW for organizing this amazing series. It's a lot of fun.
No worries at all. Arrow Ravindra there picking up second position here today. Amit Kuti gets the race win. And, well, Amit, that was a case of lap one doing exactly what you need to. Third place after the opening lap. And then from there, just pick them off one at a time and conserve from there.
He said it was lucky for me in the start, and once everyone else kind of took each other out, I found myself in third place. And then it was just a matter of catching up to the guys in front. As I did set the fastest lap and just overtake them. And after that, I think Arrow had damage, or I don't know what happened, but he was quite slow at the end. Even Oshan was closing up to him, but it was the perfect race I could have asked for.
So rewind about 15 minutes back, and you could possibly see Aro Ravindra on a rear view mirror. You were consciously trying to keep your lap timings so that he doesn't close in. Could you take me on to that strategy as well?
Yeah, I think Aro, according to my timings, he was trying for the fastest lap. He even tried it thrice, I think. So his lap times were just on and off. So he had a good lap, and then he had to save his cars. But I just wanted to try and save my tires and just do consistent lap times. I think around low 40s, and I did that. And at the end, although there was a bit of drop off, I think around a second in lap time, uh, Arrow had lost quite a bit of time, so there was a lot of breathing space for me. So it was all good at the end.
Let's talk about that break, because you had a 20-minute break there or thereabouts between the 2 races that you had here today. And I noticed that coming out at the end of that opening race that you had yourself a little bit of a look back at the race that you just had and thought about maybe a few options that you had moving forward. What was that like, just using that time constructively, and how much did that help you just to look back at that race going into round 9?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really think about the race. I was just a bit frustrated that I didn't defend, and after that, I just wanted to forget about it and move on. And I just took a little break and just listened to some songs, really.
Well, the floor is yours here, Amit. Shout out sponsors, anyone who likes to get it done for you.
Yep, I'd like to thank Volkswagen Motorsport and IRE Sports and Raymond and Saurav as well for giving this opportunity to me and the others as well. So yeah, looking good for so far.
Well, no worries at all there for Amit Kuti. He extends his gap in the championship and can be quite happy about it. Third place would go to Oshan Kathadia. Oshan, don't you just wish that start line was about 50 meters back?
Yes, I totally wish that. I just timed everything to perfection, at least the tire wear and everything. But yeah, it was just unfortunate that Arrow had a little bit more curves than me. So yeah, but yeah, it made it exciting for y'all, I think.
Oh, it did. It did. And I was just wondering what a fight back race it was. One after the other, you were mapping your leads, you were mapping your overtaking maneuver. Did you ever think that you possibly had a outside chance to catch up with Amit Koti? I know it was close with Aro, but how about Amit Koti?
Maybe 10 more minutes, and possibly I might have. I think Amit had also backed off because his tires were gone, but my tires were really good. So I was still doing 1 minute 40 zeros, and yeah, I think I could, if with that pace, I could have maintained a possible fight. But yeah, Amit was a bit too far for me after the crash.
Well, let's talk about that crash. Of course, the Tornatino is probably the tightest corner in the championship this season. It's notorious for that sort of incident, and not only yourself, but Steve Smuts gets caught up in it as well. So you look at that sort of thing happening, and you realize that you and your main championship rival are both down the order, both have to try and make places. Was that one of the reasons why you went very aggressive through the field?
No, it was just that I saw Steve right behind me after the crash. I don't know what happened to him, but I just saw Steve behind me, and then I was like, yeah, I have to push now. And when the tires are new, only then you can push hard. So after I was done overtaking, I think the third car, so I was third by then. Yeah, my tires were a bit overheated, so I had to kind of back off, and that's when Arrow also opened up a 4-second extra lead on me. So the lead was, I think, about 8 seconds, and then I started closing it down after the tires came in again.
Well, a third place finish for you. You now cement yourself third in the championship right now. Before we let you go, shout out to sponsors or anyone you'd like to thank.
Oh, I think it should be everyone, right? From not only sponsors, but I think the spectators and all the organizing team in the background, and y'all commentating. It's super exciting. I always enjoy listening to the replay again of the race once it's done. Thank
Well,
you
there
so
you
much
have.
for that.
No worries at all. Oshan Kathadia, third place overall. If we get the chance, we're going to try and grab a quick word with Garvit Loader. Garvit, do we have a copy of you, buddy? Answer to that is going to be no. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to grab Garvit Loader. We will try here and maybe get that going again, or maybe we got the opportunity to talk to Tej Patel as another option. Tej, P5, a very, very quiet and conservative drive where you just let the tyres come into their own operating range and the race just happened around you, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. I was really struggling towards the end with the tires, but like somehow managed to keep it on track.
Your finish would be credited to one aspect, lot of patience, where you were very, very patient in order to get your moves in.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to keep myself on the track. Like even I was chasing down Garvit, and we both kind of had the same delta. So like, yeah, I just had to be patient and not mess up.
And well, now we need to talk about this championship battle for fifth place because it seems like every round we go to, it seems like someone else seemingly has the formula that gives them the big points. And in reverse grids like these, this is where you tend to see those bigger points come into play. How important is 33 points to you today?
Obviously, it's really important, but let's see how the remaining 3 races go ahead, and that's going to decide the final championship position.
Well, before we let you go here, Tej, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, nobody to thank, but fifth place, nevertheless, is always a very important result. We'll try one last time. Garvit, are you there, buddy?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely fantastic. So, Garvit, 4th place today. You started on the front row of the grid, and everyone behind you seemingly ran into troubles or got themselves into their own battles, and that just gave you maybe a lot of license to score some big points today.
Yeah, I nearly avoided a first lap incident and then let the faster guys on my own race.
Garvit, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, Garvit, quick question. In terms of your race space, in terms of your tire management, how did you manage so far?
My management was not good at the end. I was quite losing and Tage was.
Seems that we're just getting a little bit of intermittent cutting in and out, but Garvit Loader there did manage to get 4th position come the end of what we had here today. Some wonderful racing up and down the order, but some more championship action will be happening a couple of weeks from now. You definitely want to try and check that out from everyone who's been making that work and making things happen here in the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship here with Volkswagen Motorsports India. Of course, a massive thanks has to go, of course, to the likes of Volkswagen themselves, MRF, the Venky's Group, and NECC, the National Egg Coordination Committee, as well, for putting on an event like this and bringing sorts of sim racing to the masses, so to speak. From Solomon Paras and myself, Jake Sperry, this has been a very, very tough battle here today where a lot of drivers have given themselves opportunities up and down to hope that they've got exactly what it takes. Over the 3 races, we had 3 different winners, but crucially, Amit Kuti is walking away with big championship aspirations. He's got himself 40-odd points and a bit more to play with as he moves on to the next round. And of course, it's that next round which becomes the big focus point.
There's an old saying in motorsport, if you want to make a million, start with $1 billion.
You got to work your way up. You got to have talent. Ultimately, you have to be born with an ability to drive the car fast. I think you have to be practical, pragmatic. You have to be able to bounce back from a lot of setbacks, because you'll have 9 bad days for every one day, but the joy you feel on that one day makes up for the other 9.
It's probably one of the toughest sports mentally, physically, and many people crack, many people move aside and fade away. But if you want to sustain, then you have to really fight it.
You have to be fearless. You are always fighting against, and you don't think about what could happen when things go really wrong.
If you don't have that little bit of craziness in you, it's not going to really work out long term. In my mind, I always use the aggressive approach. If you don't want to move forward, you always end up going backwards.
For me, it's always a great experience, motorsports, because you smell the tires, you smell the oil, you smell the excitement of the drivers, and it's just car pure.
You know, it also goes as a big sacrifice in terms of your career, because you're into something which is not conventional and it's not going to give you too much of returns monetary, at least not in the short term. You know, where your friends are, doing masters, living in the US, making a lot of money. You're here doing your thing that you love, which is not really giving you back in monetary terms, but you definitely go back home and sleep good because you're doing what you love at the end of the day.
The driver needs to extract every last fraction of a second, otherwise they're not going to win.
drop it.
It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Racing, competing, is in my blood. It's part of me, it's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. It stands up before anything else.
So we've been here for 10 years now, and we've been kind of creating a journey. We've been very much focusing on young drivers in order to create also a wider scale in this country.
The idea of Volkswagen as a brand is to support and grow motorsport.
They will not be able to hear anything.
Power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
right 3. 30. 7 left. 20. 8 right over crest into care, 5 right. 8 right over crest into care, 5 right. 20 down. Right, don't go wide. 50. Slow 7 right, then 6 right. 30. 7 right, up exit narrows. 40. 5 left, then 5 right bites. 40. 1 left plus. 1 left plus. .250, room outside. Narrow of a jump. 130. Think right. Up before. 6 right up. 60.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.